Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen Originals Podcast. I'm Chris Pajak, that's Steve Hoare, over there is Chloe Bloxham, and rounding us out for today's show is Dan Clubb, bookending the couch nicely. We're here to talk Anthony Gordon, of course, and we're going to do a squad review in the second part of the show. It promises to be a belter. I can't wait. I've literally been saying to them, stop talking about Anthony Gordon in the office all morning because I wanted to have this chat live, because it's always better when it's done for the first time. Obviously, you guys have done the news and stuff like that.
We didn't go into it too much though for you.
Well done.
I tried not to give too much opinion. I tried to let Chloe go wild on that one.
Okay, that's boss. So you give your opinion?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. But you save some.
Yeah.
Chloe doesn't hold back, blocks him, has saved some. I like it. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to start with that, but before we do, I do have to mention it again. We are on tour in Dundee, in Duck Slattery's, on Thursday the 10th of October 2024. You need to buy tickets because there's a strong chance I'm missing my daughter's birthday for this. So if you don't buy tickets, I'll be really, really pissed off. So go to skiddle.com and type in the Redmen TV and you'll see our tour date. The New Era Tour. It's the biggest New Era Tour in the UK in October.
Why does she finish before then?
I'm assuming she can't still be in October.
She's done by then, okay.
If we get 100,000 people going to our event in Duck Slattery's, then we too will prop up the food banks in Dundee for an entire year.
And if we don't, Chris will just prop up the bar.
It's probably more than likely. I mean, even if we don't, yeah, I'm going to do that regardless. If we're there and I'm there, then I'm going to be there and I'm going to be doing that. I might fall asleep at the bar, but I digress. Let's talk Anthony Gordon. We've waited far too long for it. Steve, I'd like you to bring us up to speed with everything that's happened, and if you can timeline it for me as well, okay, that would be fantastic.
I will try my best, mate. I will try my
Thursday,
best.
What happened Thursday?
It was reported that Newcastle offered Liverpool Anthony Gordon because they were aware of the PSR deadline that they were bang up against. They were going to, by all accounts, be facing like a double-digit point deduction if they didn't get some players sold. And again, it was reported at the time that Anthony Gordon was offered to Liverpool. It was then reported that Gerald Kwanzaa was part of the deal, in that Newcastle asked.
What time was this?
Oh, a little bit later on in the afternoon. Liverpool then, I think Liverpool then briefed out, I would guess, that Liverpool knocked that on the air. It was like, no chance, we didn't want to lose Gerald Kwanzaa at any stage. So that was that. Newcastle then sold a couple of other players. They sold Minter and they sold Elliot Anderson. They met the PSR deadline.
What day was that?
That was
Sunday?
Yeah, PSR deadline day. And then this morning it was reported again that Anthony Gordon's head has now been turned because of all this, what was going on. He thought he was joining Liverpool. And then interestingly enough, Luke Edwards wrote in the Telegraph today, a little bit backtracking on and contradicting everyone else reporting, saying that actually Liverpool offered Newcastle Joe Gomez and Gerald Kwanzaa, and that it was Newcastle who felt like they were getting lowballed, which I don't know about that one. That feels like it's contradicted everything else that was reported from numerous other outlets, including Newcastle-based outlets. I know Dan spoke to Lee Ryder this morning, who kind of collaborated the original story that it was basically Newcastle had to get to this deadline and they were offering players out there. So it feels like that was the gist of it, is that Newcastle were aware that Liverpool liked Anthony Gordon. They had to make some money. They were desperately trying to scramble around trying to find this money, and yeah, they offered those. And then having got the deal done with Minter and getting it done with Elliot Anderson, it feels like there's a PR machine coming out of Newcastle now where they're trying to clean this all up, because like I say, it feels like Anthony Gordon wanted and perhaps still wants to move to Liverpool.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Steve.
That makes sense?
It made sense. It made sense to me. Luckily, I'd read all the stories, so I could sort of piece them together. Chloe, they wanted Kwanzaa. We told them to get fucked. By all accounts.
Is right
indeed.
Yeah.
There is no chance of should be getting rid of Gerald Kwanzaa at this point.
Especially not when we've got Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards at the helm. If you think you're going to mess them to about, good luck, try again. Because that is one thing that they don't do. They very much back themselves and they stand their ground, and Gerald Kwanzaa is Liverpool's centre-half for the next 10 to 12 years. And he is right now in my starting 11 on the opening day of the season. So there is absolutely no way that Newcastle were going to get him from us. And also Liverpool already feel like they're a centre-half short to then go and give them one of our up-and-coming best centre-halves, someone who's, you know, had a breakout season last season and actually started ahead of Ibu Konate most of the time, who we actually put a really good price down for. There was absolutely no chance that they were getting Joel Quansah.
I felt it was interesting, like, Liverpool can't respond or brief out after every single transfer. It would be impossible. I mean, Chloe knows this, doing her shows, Dan and us as well, like it's impossible for Liverpool, you know, the amount of rumours and stuff you get. Liverpool can't respond to them all. They were very quick to brief out that it wasn't us trying to get rid of Joel Quansah, because the original reporting felt a little bit, because it was a bit vague, like maybe Liverpool had gone to Newcastle and said money plus Quansah for Gordon, and I think Liverpool were very, very quick to brief out to all the local journalists and guys on the Liverpool beat that wasn't the case. I was like,
you can understand that you need to keep your player happy.
Well, and also you just don't want it out there,
which is something that Newcastle haven't done. By the way,
until today,
by literally offering Anthony Gordon to Liverpool Football Club.
Opposite
so regardless, like, we know that Anthony Gordon's a Liverpool fan, Dan, but now he knows that he's been sort of offered out to ease their PSR concerns and stuff. Now, it's been talked about for a long time, hasn't it, about Newcastle's PSR stuff. What I find interesting, we'll talk a little bit more on this on the Biased Football podcast on Redmen Plus a little bit later on after this show. Their sporting director's got them in a whole heap of shit, and he's just gone to Manchester United. If he could do the same there, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'll do for me, mate. Yeah, Dan Ashworth, absolutely. His garden must be perfect by now. The amount of garden leave he's been on, by the way, but he's finally took up the role at Old Trafford, as you say, this morning, I think it was. But yeah, the Anthony Gordon, Newcastle. Would I want him? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all day long. Yeah, I like him a lot. And whilst Liverpool are quite blessed in that area of the pitch, I think it's fair to say I do think there's still an upgrade to be done over there, and Anthony Gordon feels like a very good option for that. Chloe's absolutely spot on with the Quansah stuff for what it's worth as well. That was an absolute non-starter. As soon as I seen that line in amongst it, I was like, yeah, that just can't happen. Liverpool won't be entertaining that, and rightfully we didn't. But yeah, from a Newcastle perspective, and Anthony Gordon perspective as well, actually, more importantly, we've known for a little while now, and it's felt like, and this is what Lee said to me this morning, actually, like the whole Newcastle squad, for all intents and purposes, was up for sale. Like, they all had a price. So it might not come as a huge shock to Anthony Gordon what happened over the weekend, because he would have been aware of the circumstances, he would have been aware of the deadline and all that sort of stuff. But having said all of that, when it is you probably think, you hear that and you get told like yeah, whatever, it won't come to me. And then when you are the guy potentially getting moved on, especially when you're not even in the country, you don't really have much of a say on the matter. And this Liverpool, I think we're all well versed now, the fact that is his boyhood club. It's a return to Merseyside, it's Champions League football. You know, the stakes and the temptation is high, really, really high. So it's no surprise the fallout, despite the deal not happening, is the fact that he's still thinking, okay, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. That doesn't shock me at all.
No, I'm just like, this is a genie that has been let out the bottle, that there is absolutely no chance that Newcastle can put right in now. It's just, for me, this is going to rumble on. If Liverpool get a bid for Diaz this summer, I think you're going for Anthony Gordon straight off the bat. I think that's almost your first move.
Well, we've played our cards by telling everyone that we like him.
Yeah.
That's out there now. He wants to come to us. I said this morning, actually, I said, out of the three sort of parts of this potential, or any potential transfer, two of them already put the cards on the table. Gordon's open to a Liverpool move, Liverpool open to Gordon. The Newcastle bit was kind of forced because they had to do something over the weekend. So that's the only missing piece now. But that third part could easily happen in the
And we've
weeks.
seen him force a move out of a club before. He forced his way out of Everton, didn't he? Now, it's not a good look, and I think the article in the Telegraph covers this. Was it Luke Edwards, did you say a minute ago? He kind of covered it, like, it doesn't look good and all this, and Newcastle are going to make sure that he feels loved and all this type of stuff. Nah, fuck that. Like, if you're a cheater, and in this case Newcastle are the cheater, you never get back with a cheater. If they've cheated on you once, they'll cheat on you again.
I said that, didn't I, before?
They're going to do you dirty once, they'll do you dirty again whenever it needs them. Their troubles aren't overstay, are they? So, for me, Anthony Gordon has to force his way to Liverpool Football Club, and there'll be people out there right now going, no, he shouldn't do that, like, he's a little whopper anyway. He was an absolute whopper when he was at Everton, because he played for Everton Football Club, but he was a boss footballer as soon as he got to Newcastle, for me, because he's a boss footballer.
Yes, it's interesting because Newcastle don't need to sell him, and that's the point we've got now.
Gordon doesn't need to play there.
No, I understand.
Come on, Liverpool, get us one box.
Sometimes when you've seen a player try and force a move, and then clubs hold on. Liverpool done that before. You know, Liverpool did it with Coutinho. They just wouldn't let him go. It wasn't happening, and eventually he left. At some point, Anthony Gordon is going to leave, and it feels like it might be to us. It's just at what point that happens, but it's a difficult one for me because I like him. I think he's a good player, but I'm sat here right now. I just don't know what Liverpool's transfer budget is, and I think there are other pressing needs. I actually think left wing is the best position we've got in the squad. They've got like 4 genuine options who can all go and play out there. Gordon might be better than all of them, probably close to, if not some of them. But I if you've got 100 million to spend, we don't know what that is. Centre back, centre midfield feel like bigger needs. But obviously Liverpool would have done this deal, if it looks like, if it was just a cash thing. So I don't quite know how to get my head around it really. Luke's reporting again, because it was very pro Newcastle, which is funny. Again, it felt very PR-ish from my opinion. It did say within it, Liverpool, Anthony Gordon wanted to go to Liverpool. He thought he was probably going to make his way to Liverpool.
If only his agent wasn't a Glasgow.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. That's a rumour that's been going around. It's
Shania Twain.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one. I like him, but I don't love him to the point where I would be like pushing the boat out to go and sign Anthony Gordon, because when
if he was a right winger, would you at this point?
100%. And that's it. That's another position in the squad that probably needs fill. Now he can play there. Yeah. He can play all 3 positions. It's a very odd situation in that a player was for sale and then at the last minute he wasn't.
You're forgetting one thing, Steve. We love left wingers. We buy all left wingers all the time. We have done for years. It's all we do. Yeah, it's like we collect them.
Honestly, it
doesn't matter if you need a centre half. Let's just buy another left winger.
It's like on The Simpsons when he's playing the putting green. It's like, are you sure you want to use your driver? We recommend putter. You've selected driver. You need a centre back. You've selected left winger.
You need a DM. You've selected left winger.
That's what it's very much like.
Over and over again.
I just feel. It's a very messy situation that Newcastle found themselves in. They knew about this for a while, and other clubs who were up against it PSR wise dealt with it a little bit better than Newcastle did. Everton got their ducks in a row relatively soon enough, where they didn't have to lose Jared Brantwaite, for example, yet. They got rid of some fringe players. Now Newcastle, in the end, they did the right thing. They got rid of a backup player and a lad a young promising lad, but one who hasn't really played for them. They got it right at the end. But for 48 hours, they were absolutely scrambling about. All we don't know now is like how headstrong is Anthony Gordon? Is he willing to force a move? Like really, really do it? Because it was all well and good doing it from Everton. Is he going to try and do with iffy contract situations and that kind of stuff? Needed the money. Newcastle don't need the money now. At this moment in time, a bit down the line,
where are they for next year, Dan?
Not sure in terms of the PSR stuff, you mean. I'm not sure. It was said to me that they're not in the healthiest of positions. This is going to come around again, it feels like, especially with no European money to come through the door either this time around. So I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that they're still in a position. If they want to go out and reinforce this summer, which you'd imagine they would do, because they're going to spend big, all this PSR done has kicked it down the road, really, it feels like, because they need a centre-back. That's why they wanted Quanta. They've sorted the goalkeeper situation in a little bit of a PSR swizz that they did over the weekend, I think it's fair to say.
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, yeah. Greek lad who I'm not prepared to even try and pronounce.
John Ruddy.
Did they sign John Ruddy as well?
But that was
that's the homegrown stuff.
He'd be the third choice, yeah. But they're not out the woods by any stretch of imagination in terms of next year's PSR calculation. So if they do want to spend big this summer, which you'd imagine they would do, because they come back to it, missed out on European football this time around, obviously the FA Cup game and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think selling Anthony Gordon, whether it be this summer, January or next, is out the realms for what Newcastle need in terms of money.
Can I talk? My rebuttal to that would be, I don't think they would want to sell Anthony Gordon to buy someone else.
I thought you were asking a question.
But what if he wants out though?
Yeah, but that's the question now. That is it. That's the question. How do they react to this? Because PR-wise, if you're a sports washing entity, which that's what Newcastle has become, the last thing you want, Dan, is that you don't want to be PR'd out of it. You know what I mean? You're meant to be positive. You're not meant to get embarrassed. And if you lose a player to Liverpool, do you not think from their point of view that's like the last thing they would want? To be, well, we're the richest club in the world. We've got the richest owners in the world. But here's a young Scouse lad who's just weasels the way out of our club.
Possibly. But then is that quite sort of short-term thinking-wise? Because maybe you do take a bit of a PR hit in that very short term where you've lost a player that you signed. He was one of your marquee signings. I guess also he's returning for Champions League football, mentioned the boyhood club stuff, back to Merseyside, so you can probably sort of square that circle. And also if long term that means you can spend extra on this player and that player and your squad's in a healthier place, quite possibly. And throw in the fact and the caveat that we've already all said, the fact that it's kind of become apparent over the weekend that he wouldn't mind that move a little bit. It's probably for the best.
Here's one, right? Question for you, Chloe, from Supernova.
Yes, there you go. I've already answered it. Yeah.
Okay, for
100%.
podcast listeners,
I can't say that.
would you straight swap Diaz to Newcastle with Gordon?
1,000,000%.
Yeah, on the news show, Chloe caused a bit of a ruckus by saying he's Gordon. Did he say way better?
I just said he's a better player than Diaz.
I agree.
See,
I've sat here for 2 months saying I wouldn't sell Diaz, but Anthony Gordon is a player that I would want Liverpool to sign. I think you look at the goals, you look at the assists, it's obviously better. He's playing for a poorer Newcastle side. He had a really tough start at Newcastle as well, but he got to grips with it. I was looking at some stats. We're doing a deep dive on it tomorrow, by the way, me and Josh, like a Diaz versus Anthony Gordon sort of deep dive. So I won't give anything away, but in terms of pressures and stuff like that, he puts more pressures on per 90 than any other Newcastle player. Covers more distance to pressurise players and stuff like that.
His engine's ridiculous.
His engine's honestly ridiculous. He's a quality player. I wouldn't let him anywhere near a bike, but he's a quality player. And Chloe, for me, you look at what Diaz has done. 27 years old, hasn't really kicked on, unfortunately for us, although he's been outstanding for us, I will say that.
Yep.
Whereas Anthony Gordon's 23 years old, he's English, he fills a homegrown quota for how long, for how many years? Having a first teamer who's an English player is it's a godsend in that regard, isn't it? So there are so many reasons that I can think of, but for you, what are the standout reasons you would do that swap?
I think I love Diaz. I love his desire. I love how much commitment he gives on a football pitch, but there's not enough end product for me. And I think Anthony Gordon's already shown that he's got more end product already with his season at Newcastle. I think Lucho, I've seen the best of Lucho, and I don't see him improving. What he is now is what he will be for the rest of his time at Liverpool. Anthony Gordon, he's 23 years old, and I can see how his ceiling is so much higher. For me personally, anyway, I think, like you mentioned there, he's a little bit of a shithouse, which I absolutely hate when it's against us, but love when it's for us.
Just hold that thought, because Liam Bento's put in a great message here. The Gordon lad was beating the Newcastle badge an awful lot, celebrating with the fans. Seems a little bit of a mercenary narc, like a Scouse Suarez.
Yeah,
but that fits in perfectly with what you were saying.
Exactly. And 14 months ago, I absolutely despised the lad. But since he started playing for Newcastle, I realised how good of a player he is. And at Everton, you didn't really see that because you just hated them so much.
He always played well against us, though.
Yeah, he did.
Always played well against us.
Yeah. He did, but my hatred for him kind of wiped out anything else. Where now I just think he's got the pace, he's silky, his dribbling's brilliant, but he's got the end product that is much needed. He's Scouse. Hello. He's Scouse, and he adores the Reds apparently as well. So I'd love that as well.
Pittsburgh Everton would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be
I think the pace is the one. I think Liverpool, Diaz is the only rapid one Nunes is the only rapid player I think we've got really serious pace in the forward areas, and he's always offside, so doesn't really get to use it so much. What's that for?
No, they're having a conversation about we're about to eat something. There's a wrapper lying around or something. Oh, I couldn't see.
What have you got? Grenade Oreo bar.
What is it?
It's me Grenade Oreo bar.
We're not even sponsored by them either.
I'm going to say,
no.
Other brands are available.
They are crap.
No, don't say that. We might get sponsored by them.
They are wonderful.
All protein bars, we'll take any of the money that you're giving us.
Crap around here means boss, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Chloe's Scouse terminology.
Yeah.
It's the pace thing is the key for me. Just going back to the Gordon thing. I think the reason I don't think Man City bought Jeremy Doku thinking he's the best thing since sliced bread. But he just wants that little bit of pace that you just need every now and then. And I do believe Liverpool are lacking that in wide areas. So I don't see a world where Darwin's going to play left wing. So that's why I would think Gordon might suit better at times, going back to the Diaz question. But I think they're not that dissimilar in levels, but the age and the fact that Gordon can get better is probably why you probably would do it. But yeah,
it feels like it's going to be one of those break your transfer record type of signings.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Then I wouldn't do it.
Well, it's kind of going to have to be, I suppose, isn't it? Unless he really does dig his heels in.
I think it's in and around it, whatever happens, isn't it? We're talking upwards of 70, aren't we? Which isn't too far removed from our transfer record, of course. So, yeah, is he worth that? I guess at some point we're going to have to break it, is what I'd say, because the way modern football's going, we nearly broke it last summer with the Moises Caicedo, 24 hours that we all had. So, yeah, at some point it's going to have to get broken, and it's going to be for a certain type of player. Whether Anthony Gordon's that, I'm not sure. I guess sort of the problem in around that conversation is the fact that we are quite well stocked at left wing, but I don't think if Luis Diaz went and the Barcelona interest became serious and they somehow conjured up the money to make that deal happen, I don't think we'd be too against Anthony Gordon spending that sort of money on him.
Is it one that Liverpool are going to be proactive in, or is this just a reactive?
I think it's reactive.
Yeah,
I do. I think we're waiting on Diaz. I don't think they'll actively sell Diaz, but I think if that becomes a thing that's happening, I think they'll look immediately to Anthony Gordon, and I'd be for it.
Than Diaz?
Yeah, lots of different things he is. Yeah, most certainly. I mean, he scored against the entire Big Six last year in the Premier League. Like, we're not
Did we?
Probably not. I'm not sure we did, yeah. But numbers-wise, his numbers are really good. They're better than Luis Diaz, in spite of playing less games on him. But it's that for me.
And in a less creative team.
It's scoring against the big teams for me. That's what I look at more than anything else and go, that's something that big games in the Newcastle side that aren't exactly pulling up trees last season. To do that is really quite something.
My worry on that is he's a very good counter-attacking player.
Well, so have we been in the past.
No, we're Liverpool at the best counter-press, but it's more win the ball, hype the pitch, and then go. I don't think that Gordon gets as many of those straight one-on-ones. Like, you know what I mean? Like for us, maybe there'll be certain games he would, because Diaz certainly got one against Manchester City, and he fluffed his lines. And you're right.
And
I think Anthony Gordon probably would have scored that. So I do see.
I think Gordon's so direct.
Well. The direct is the key word in Anthony Gordon's game for me.
Is there any?
He's versatile enough, you know.
Is the Chris mentioned before, and I'll ask you, Chris. Actually, you said before, like the cheating thing, you know what I mean? Like he's been a dickhead at Everton. If he's a dickhead at Liverpool, like, are we comfortable hiring or signing a dickhead that we just don't think
he has been a dickhead though, really. He's just wanted to move, and you know, that's it, isn't it?
He's
only done it once. Yeah. He got the move and he was proved right. He's kicked on since he left Everton Football Club. Is he being a dickhead to force a move from a club that tried to sell him?
It's a good point.
And to his boyhood club.
I don't think he is being a dickhead in that regard. They were the one who opened this can of worms. Let's not forget, not Anthony Gordon.
And our captain
he was quite happy. He was playing in, getting a minute or something in the Euros or whatever, just going about his business. Next thing, he's found out that his boyhood club had been offered him. That is completely different for me, and I'm cool with it. Like,
and also, you've got to think, when his entire season at Newcastle, he's gave those fans absolutely everything. By the way, he's left everything.
Was their player of the year, wasn't he?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Probably.
Because I think Isaac just didn't get enough minutes, did he?
He's really good.
But he's gave their fans everything, like you mentioned, you know, hitting the badge, showing the desire, showing all of that. He's had so many nice words to say about St James's Park, and rightfully so. What an atmosphere they can create. But
was their player of the year, by the way?
Yeah, but when that team then tries to throw you out and basically sell you, then that's
that.
Changes dynamic for me, doesn't it?
It does.
Massively
it has
changes
to.
Dynamic.
That's why Luke Edwards' article today is really the first part of the PR spin. It was like, yeah, we didn't really want to lose him. We did everything we could. Don't have a go at him. It's a bit. I think he says the thing like, you know, it would be like a Geordie getting the opportunity to come to Newcastle, and you know, so we have to understand where he's coming from. They realise they balls this up massively, and the spin is already in motion, and it's going to continue. The reason I think I'm worried if anything happening with it is because I just think the cost is going to be huge, and Newcastle are going to do everything they can to keep him. I wouldn't be shocked if they sign him.
50 million quid bid comes in for Diaz, and you can get Gordon for 70, so a net 20. Are you doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think Newcastle will sell him for 70.
Okay.
And that's ultimately where I'm at with it. I think it would be more. I think you'd have to go above the Van Dijk fee. I'm not sure Liverpool need to be doing that.
Okay, if it's 80,
I'm so comfortable with that.
I'm so comfortable with that.
Yeah, I can understand it.
I think honestly, I think the English thing's massive as well. You know,
and the age and
age. English, being a boss player. Chloe, would you do 30 million top of Diaz sale?
Yeah, I would. I think.
And sorry to interrupt after asking you a question, but like, I think 50's low for Diaz, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
massively.
But that was the rumour that Liverpool wanted the money for him last week, wasn't it? But like, 60, 70 isn't out the realms of possibility for Diaz. You might be adding 10, 20 on top.
No, and look, there are, you know, certain clubs who are missing left wingers at the moment in time. You've still got the Not us. There are also, the Saudi Pro League, which hopefully, if there was a deal to be made there, we could maybe sell and get him a bit more money. But for me, the 50 mil from James Pearce on Diaz is extremely low. I'd be expecting 70.
That's my point. If we're expecting 70 for Luis Diaz, why the hell are Newcastle going to take 70 million for Anthony Gordon?
I just hope that Anthony Gordon forces his way out of it.
I think you'd be looking like 100 million, like Jack Grealish type. I think Jack Grealish set the precedent.
I'm not spending 100 million.
And that's my point, is that I don't think I would be comfortable with that.
No, but if you're saying you're throwing 50 on top of Luis Diaz when you've got everything else to go on in the squad, it seems a bit mad. But if Liverpool have the dough,
I'm still quite comfortable with that, by the way.
We don't know. We just don't know.
I think
you're basically saying Anthony Gordon 50 million.
Oh yeah, but if it was just straight up money.
My thing is, I get it, and I'm not too far away from that, Dan. But like when you've got centre half, when you've got a potential 6 and all that type of stuff. 50
million is crippling our budget for the summer, our war chest for the summer. We've got a big problem anyway beyond this conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Big club, got to do big things.
Need to, should do, hopefully will do.
Do you think he will sign him?
No.
Liverpool?
Yeah,
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Never said it was this summer, but I think it's the wheels are in motion now. I really believe that it's happening at some point. And it would make sense now. Listen, we'll see, won't we? Obviously, as you say, he's Newcastle's player of the year for a reason. He was a very good player in a side that was struggling at times.
He was fit all the time as well.
He's ridiculous in terms of his engine and all that type of stuff. He's a quality player. I'm sure there's loads of people that say that, there's other players that he'd like to buy in front of him, and I get that. Lots of people in the chat talking about Nico Williams.
But you want to come to you as well. Andy Gordon wants to play for Liverpool. We've got no indication that Nico Williams wants to play for Liverpool. He might, but I mean. He might not.
Liverpool have poured a bit of cold water on that one already, haven't they? So.
It's more, everyone goes, I'll just go for him, or I'll just go and get Kvaratskhelia, or I'll just go and get Nico. But they have to want to play for you. We know Anthony Gordon wants to come to Liverpool. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like, for all, Barcelona are in for Nico Williams, which might scupper any Diaz stuff. So that's fancy football manager, isn't it? There's a lad here we know Liverpool like, and a lad who wants to sign for Liverpool. They're massive things.
They're two key components. Yeah. That's what I'm at with it. Yeah. Two of the key components have already kind of been agreed to over the weekend. The third one is Newcastle, but that's a long old way towards the transfer happening now for me.
Also, there's 2 months left of this transfer window, so Liverpool don't have to react right now. They can wait it out. According to that report, Anthony Gordon's head is an absolute complete and utter mess, and the only people possibly the helmet didn't do much.
Does it when you skid your chin off the floor, to be fair.
Not great, is it?
The only people at fault here are Newcastle for the way that Anthony Gordon might now be thinking, and if he's devastated at the fact that his dream move to his boyhood club didn't happen, hopefully him and his agent are sat there having a word with Newcastle, trying to force this a little bit and saying, you've got to compromise because you've just nearly sent me off anyway.
Do you think he could Coutinho it?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's like that.
I don't either. I think he's more of a consummate professional than that, to be honest with you. But there's no two ways about it. Even if he does come out and say in the next fortnight, listen, I'm aware of what happened, but I'm fully committed to Newcastle. Let's crack on with the season. In the back of his mind somewhere, it's muddied that relationship somewhat. It has to have done. He'll have seen all the reports and he'll be fully well versed in it. He'll know the fact of the move at one point, like it was on, and you can't switch back from that to being fully committed and for your way heart and your sleeve in for the badge and all that sort of stuff. It's not that easy to do, so it's definitely complicated matters, I think, up there anyway.
Absolutely. David Johns said Newcastle need a backup keeper, so either 80 million or 85 million plus adjunct. I wish we could get away with that one, mate.
But Kelleher was muted over the weekend, wasn't he? When it wasn't going to be Quansah, it was talk of Kelleher, and as much as I like Kevin Kelleher, that deal as well made a little bit of sense. More sense than
they've signed 2 goalies since, haven't they?
Well, of course, it's not PSR is not a thing anymore, but for a little minute there, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that being a better fit.
Do you find it mad that this thing, Chris, or the Edwards stuff this morning, Luke Edwards stuff, but like Liverpool come to us and offered us Gomez and Quansah? That's the Newcastle line.
With no dough.
And Gomez or Quansah plus money for Gordon is what they're saying, is what Liverpool. That is like they're trying to spin this now that Liverpool made the moves. And I don't think is anyone buying that?
Listen, no, because not even Liverpool could be that stupid to offer 2 defenders for another left winger. Like, and I was laughing a few minutes ago at how ridiculous it seems, but surely not half your back line is going.
No, sorry, it was one or the other of them.
Right.
But even that's what I'm saying. Newcastle have already tried to get this out. Like, it wasn't us, it was them, and it feels like
we know, and everybody knows that there was one team with PSR issues that needed to get it sorted by Sunday, and it wasn't Liverpool Football Club. No. So we know it was Newcastle. So
it's just, it feels a bit like the fella in the war, and it was like, oh, everything's fine, and there's tanks behind them. It feels like that's what that article from Newcastle is today. It's like, oh no, it wasn't us. They come to us, they wanted to start playing, and we said no. They were trying to offer us their two young players. It just feels very, it just feels like, it feels embarrassing. I think if I was a Newcastle fan reading that, I mean, maybe they just buy it, but like when 5 or 6 reputable outlets, including a similar reporter like 2 days ago, had the completely opposite story, for that one article to come out now, it does feel a little bit like
covering the steps.
No, like it's almost like you're asking Newcastle fans to be gullible and like trying to pull the wool over their eyes, and that's obviously come from the club to put that briefing out there. That feels like they've realised how bad a mistake they've made.
They're changing the narrative, aren't they? They're trying to change the narrative around it a little bit. Yeah, it's
I did see some Newcastle fans today. I did see some Newcastle fans today doing the oh my god, the first time they've really slagged their owners off because they've all been made up with how it's gone for them and all that kind of stuff. But today's the first time that they've how did we get ourselves into this bigger mess? And you've got to hope, I suppose, that if you're someone who wants Anthony Gordon desperately like that, if they are that big a mess, Liverpool have been keen to exploit, is that the right word, or like take advantage of favourable situations for themselves.
Go on.
Also, I've not quite seen the reaction from an entire fan base as I have from Liverpool's fan base when it was, you read the first line, it was like Liverpool could buy Gordon. It was like, oh, this is wonderful. And then the next line was to sell a youngster in Jarell Quansah, and near enough every single Liverpool fan went, no. And it was like, you're talking about a lad who you're talking near 100 mil for this lad. And yet we're talking about little Jarell Quansah here, who's had his breakout season, but only one season. If our fan base can come together on this and all agree, that's outrageous, you're not having him. I'm pretty sure Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes would be thinking the same.
Well, they did.
They would have to.
They did.
It was a complete and utter non-starter, wasn't it? It's why the talks never happened.
So.
I wonder what the money is. Because if Everton are holding on for 90 million for Jared Branthwaite, like, I don't know what Liverpool value Jarell Quansah at, but it might not be that far off. Because if Everton are justifiably right to say to Man United, you're not having him for like less than a record fee, is there that much difference between Branthwaite and Quansah, like in terms of experience, in terms of how many games they've played? They were both in the England squad.
Bit. He spent a season on loan at
PSV, didn't he? So it's one more tough life season. Yeah. And listen, by the way, this Gareth Southgate, I understand, is a bit of an idiot when it comes to selection, but he had Quansah higher in his pecking order than Branthwaite. So, like, when it was like money and Quansah for Gordon, I was thinking it should really only be a minuscule amount,
like 20 mil or something.
If that, maybe, yeah. Because like, if Jarell Quansah has another season like he's just had, he's in that range of being a well, let's not forget as well, if we're in PSR shit and another team's in PSR shit, Jarell Quansah could have gone for 150 million quid, because they just seem to massively inflate the fees and stuff anyway, don't they? We're going to move on then. No one's added anything new to it, so we're going to go to the June prize draw for Club Legends. This is for a... What was this for? This is a shirt signed by Johnny Barnes.
Yeah. Johnny Barnes.
Someone's getting a Johnny Barnes signed shirt.
Okay. Yeah. So all I've got to do is click to spin or press Control and Enter. I'll go for the click to spin, I think. Here we go. The wheels, they are spinning. They are in motion. And the winner of the John Barnes signed shirt for Club Legends on redmenplus.com is KDP Wall 50. Get in touch with us on Twitter in the DMs then, I think.
Yeah, I'll email you.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so you've won a John Barnes signed shirt. Thank you so much for being a club legend. Completely love you. We're going to take a very short break and then we're going to do a squad review. So we're going to talk goalkeepers, we're going to talk defenders, midfielders, and obviously attackers. See you in a sec. Liverpool supporters of Scotland, we are heading your way. It is a new era for Liverpool Football Club, and to celebrate, we're heading on the road with our very own new era tour, trademark pending, and this time we're heading up to Scotland for the very first time. On Thursday, the 10th of October, we'll be live on stage at Duck Slattery's, no idea, with a show filled with laughs, cheers, and our usual Redmen TV nonsense. Not only that, but the brilliant Keogh will be performing too, belting out the best of Liverpool anthems to get you up, singing and dancing with us. If you'd like to attend, tickets are on sale now. Head to skiddle.com, search the Redmen TV, and get along to our very first show north of the border.
Hey everyone, would you like to get your hands on this? It is a shirt signed by two Liverpool legends, two Scouse Liverpool legends as well, Steve McMahon and John Aldridge. If you want a chance to win this amazing shirt, all you got to do is be a Redmen Plus Legend subscriber. Each and every month we give away signed LFC merchandise, and at the end of July we'll be giving this special prize to one of our Legend subscribers. So if you're one of our Redmen Plus Captain subscribers, just go to the website, go to my account, upgrade and become a Legend subscriber. If you're not subscribed to Redmen Plus, go to the website, redmenplus.com. Join us as a legend, get all of our amazing content in video and in podcast forms, get access to the Discord, but most importantly, get into the prize draw each and every month. This month you could get your hand on a belter just like this.
Hello, welcome back to the Redmen Originals Podcast. We're going to do the squad review now. We're going to go through all the players in Liverpool's squad, talk about what type of a season we're sort of expecting for them, really, more than anything. So, as an example, coming a little bit later in the midfielders, so obviously tailed off last season with the introduction of Arne Slot. What are we expecting from him? Is it a big season? Is it one that he just needs to build on, etc., etc.? We'll start off with the goalkeepers anyway. Thank you for everybody listening to this live on YouTube and watching it live on YouTube, talking about my socks. They're my happy socks. I've had them for a long time.
They're very colourful, aren't they?
I've worn them loads of times, and I've never seen the comments. Like,
yeah. Garnered some attention this time.
It definitely garnered some attention.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because Paul usually hosts.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Like, I don't know. Anyway, people are weird. So anyway, thank you very much. Some of you like them, some of you don't. I don't give a shit. But it's nice that you want to talk about them. We're going to start with Alisson Becker then. What type of a season are we expecting from Alisson? And I'll start with Dan.
A boss one, as usual. Like, just him to continue being Alisson Becker.
How many games is he going to miss through injury this season?
No, don't.
It's an important point.
It's too much of an important point though, because it's actually a thing that happens all too regularly for my liking. I'm gonna say he's gonna have an injury-free season.
Oh right.
I know.
Can't get the first one,
but it could potentially be as more important than ever before.
Yes.
Depending on what happens in a minute with the other guy when we speak about him. So I'm gonna put me cards on the table and say he's going to be injury free, everything's going to be fine. And I will say on him, I expect him to continue being the best goalkeeper in the world because that's what he does. But I do think it's nice, stroke really important, that Taffarel stuck around for him. I think that's a really nice thing and a real positive thing in terms of him, but and his happiness. But also, more than ever before, if Kelleher was to leave, depending on who comes in and who the young keepers are in around him, and Adrian looks like he's on his way as well. So his role is not only to be the best keeper in the world and to actually earn and win those games of football and earn points, but it's actually going to be sort of like this experienced leader of a goalkeeping group all of a sudden with a new coach, a new goalkeeping coach for the door, who I think is probably actually younger than Alisson is now. So he's gone from, again, being just utterly incredible to also being this like real sort of people, they're going to look up to him, these youngsters, and they're going to lean on him and stuff like that. So a bit of a different role.
It is, and obviously before we even get to the season, Chloe, there has still been rumours about Saudi Arabian sides wanting him. They can just be battered away, yeah?
Yeah, they can just get lost. Greatest goalkeeper in the world right now for me. Courtois will have something to say about that, but he did do his ACL, so, it's not really our fault. But yeah, he is, Alisson Becker is the best goalkeeper. I mean, did anyone see his save in the Copa America the other day where it just took a deflection off Eder Militao? He was going one way.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I think he'll get injured. I think he'll miss maybe 6 games. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It's just what happens.
It is a thing. You are right.
It is a thing.
It's the only thing.
In the season we won the league. Let's play Adrian.
Adrian, yeah, right at the
First
start.
10, yeah.
So, I hope he doesn't get injured, but odds are he probably will at some point.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to you then, Steve, for Kelleher. Obviously, wants first team football by all accounts. 25 million is the rumoured fee that will prize him away. Wants that first team football. Do you think it's going to happen this summer?
Yeah, I think he'll leave. I think someone will want him. I think at some point...
What's his ceiling?
High-level Premier League goalkeeper. Like, I think he's a very good goalkeeper. He could easily play Premier League, Champions League level. He's got more to come. He's shown he's good enough to do that. So I think someone will come and get him, and I think Liverpool will reluctantly accept it. So I saw James Pearce saying like Liverpool, as it stands, are planning to keep him. Of course they are, because no bids have come in. So why would they be in? Liverpool should be in no rush to push Keith Kelleher out the door. They don't need to. They're not in PSR trouble like Newcastle were with their players. So. But ultimately, I think a bid will come in, and I think Liverpool will accept it.
What do you think that does? So to the goalkeeping department, obviously, Dan mentioned it before about Alisson being sort of one of the elder statesmen of the goalkeeping department. Obviously, Liverpool will probably have to do business.
Yeah.
If a backup goalkeeper is brought in, and as expected, Adrian leaves, and maybe Jaros is the third choice keeper after a good season at Sturm Graz, does Liverpool's backup keeper get games like Kelleher did?
The difficulty is, I'm sure they'll play the FA Cup and the League Cup, wouldn't they? Because Alisson will play the Champions League. There's no Europa League break. But Alisson's injury record isn't great. That it goes back to that. So whoever he is who comes in, I think you'll be hard pressed to get a backup goalie as good as Kelleher. I think that's a tough ask. If you can get someone of the same level, I think you've done really well. A few other teams have got them, but even like Man City now, there's talk about Ortega maybe becoming first choice, because at some point, it's dead hard to have really great backup goalies. So my guess is I actually think the goalkeeper department will be worse this coming next season, because I believe that it'll be a downgrade. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope whoever it comes in. I saw the links to Bento. I don't know enough about him other than he's obviously Alisson's current backup in Brazil. I don't know enough about him, but I find it really difficult to presume that Liverpool are going to get themselves a goalie who's as good as Keith.
Sorry, the reason I was laughing then is nothing to do with what you were saying. It's these stupid bloody comments. Michael Cohen said, what went through Chris's mind when he grabbed them socks? I reckon he said, fuck it, the flare jeans will cover them. Looks like he's been plucked from the 80s. It didn't half tickle me while you were talking.
I'll be honest, I thought
the Bento.
I thought I said Bento and you were laughing at his name.
Nothing so sinister.
Can I ask? Let's do it.
Well, for a start, right, they're not flares.
Why the socks?
Flare jeans.
Flare jeans.
That's what I need to just say, right? The socks are the socks, but they're not flare jeans, okay?
Fucking the jeans.
The flare jeans. I can confirm.
It's a good comment.
You know what's mad? Usually all the comments about when one of us wears shorts, and now today it's
get off Scott for me.
Yeah,
don't you ever wear shorts and mad socks?
No, that'll be it.
Someone came up to Paul in the shop the other day and said, "Can you tell Dan to stop wearing shorts on the shows?"
Never.
How many comments? Tell Chris never to wear those socks ever again.
To be fair, people don't mention when you wear slides. You're not wearing them today, but
no,
you
I wish I was. I wish I was wearing them today.
Yeah. You always wear slides.
I brought slippers in, you know. Brought a pair of slippers in now. I've got them upstairs.
To wear? On shows?
Wear? No, not on shows. Not a chance.
I'm not
Peter Kenny Jones. Just around the office.
Why did I find that weirder?
You wear slides
all the time.
You change your shoes around the office?
Yeah, but
you've got about 4 pairs of shoes under your
By the way, this squad review, we're going to be finished about 12. We've done 2 players.
Yeah. We've done 3 reviews of my socks. Jesus wept. We'll move on to Adrian then. Chloe, looks like he's going. Anyone asked?
No, see you later.
No.
Oh, come on, that's unfair. I'm sorry. No one's bothered.
Right, there we go. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Let's be kind to him a little bit.
He did a fantastic job a few years ago.
Okay.
His eyes are great.
Okay.
What about a thing for Adrian, yeah?
No, I just like his eyes.
Super Cup and that.
It's fine.
Jaros, though, as I mentioned, he did really well at Sturm Graz. That's the batshit crazy league, the Austrian one, isn't it? Where they draw a line under it towards the end, and then they split the league into tops and bottoms, and halve your points and round your points down if you're on a half points and shit, and then you go for it. And they won the league. So Jaros is not only really good at maths to be able to know that he's won the league, but he's actually probably a pretty decent goalkeeper. Homegrown as well. Third choice, likely to be him. Pitaluga's loan deal, am I right in saying, has just been cancelled today? Is that right? Didn't work.
Didn't happen at all.
Not a good sign for him. So probably next season, Chloe, we're looking at Alisson and Jaros, most likely. Liverpool do need to do business then. Would you keep Yaros as a third choice? Is it just too much business to get 2 more guys in?
Yeah, I'd keep Yaros. I think, the sad thing for me is being a third choice goalkeeper, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities. Are we limiting, his development? Because clearly he had a really good season last season. But for the homegrown situation that we desperately need, because we are losing Kelleher, it makes the most sense to keep Yaros as your third. And Liverpool don't want to go and spend loads of money on a backup goalkeeper. It just doesn't feel like something that you want to do. But we do need an experienced goalkeeper who's of the standard of, if Alisson does get injured, he can come in and he can make sure that our level does not drop off, because that was the most important thing and the impressive thing about Kelleher last season is when he came in, Liverpool was still in with a chance of winning the title, and it wasn't his fault that the rest of the team fell off. It felt like he did as much as he possibly could, but the players in front of him couldn't defend properly.
Stats were better than Alisson's.
Yeah.
Like Kelleher's were, they were absolutely superb, in terms of the expected numbers and all that type of stuff. It's a difficult one though, isn't it, with the replacing Kelleher, Dan, because Yaros might be good enough. He's had first team experience now, but doesn't feel like that's what Liverpool think from the outside looking in. But where'd you go? I mean, you do need an absolutely brilliant player in case Alisson picks up another injury again. And in that regard, does 25 million really cut it? Are you going to get a better player than Kelleher? Steve said before he imagines that the goalkeeping department's worse off. I agree with that.
No, I do as well. It's hard to look. It's hard to think of it any other way, isn't it? Unfortunately, because Kelleher is so good that he is relatively irreplaceable in what he brings to the table. The issue with it is if he is, as we're inclined to believe, so desperate for first team football and regular first team football at that. Are you doing him a bit of a disservice, and are you sort of holding him back by saying, no, you can't go again? If bids of 25 million are to come through the door, you can't put that price tag out there and say, listen, if we get bids around this, we'll say yes. And then when it happens, say, actually, by the way, we can't because we think you're really good. Can you stick around for another 12 months whilst Alisson continues to be boss? And let's just live in a world whereby Alisson does stay completely injury-free and he's fit all season. Kelleher might play 5 games of football if he's lucky. That doesn't feel right either. So he's come through the ranks, he's done as good, he's waited, he's been patient. When he's been called upon, he's been absolutely superb. I do think there has to be this mutual sort of understanding and agreement that if a club that he seems suitable, that he thinks suits him, and he's happy to go and move there, and the right money comes through, you've kind of just got to say, yeah, go on then, off you go.
Absolutely, okay. We'll move on to the defenders then, Steve. Robbo, what type of a season do you expect him to have?
Yeah, it's interesting with Robertson because up and down last season, injuries have hit him a couple of times, which is new for him. He's in his 30s now. I can see a world where he might not end the season as first choice at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool signed anybody or done a little business over there. It feels like this might be the season where
Liverpool have to sign someone, do you think, for him to not end the season?
Yeah, I don't think Costas is going to take his role, but
I was just fact checking there.
Yeah, it would be maybe a Calafiori who's a left back / centre back. Or I think Andy Robertson. I think he ended the season really well. I think he was one of the better players towards the end of it, and he said himself he was carrying an injury through that period as well. So hopefully he can get back to his best. But I think he's vitally important, of course, he is, and he's still fantastic, and he's still showing that. But I think it's unrealistic to expect Andy Robertson to be the Andy Robertson that he was 2019, 2020. I can't see a world where that's the case, where loads of other players have dropped down a little bit in that position where he's played loads of games, he's been up and down that wing. I think we saw last year that the injury starting to creep up a little bit and a bit of inconsistency. I hope he has a good season, but I'm starting to feel like this might be there could be a phase now period coming soon. I just don't know when that's going to be.
Absolutely. Anyone disagree with that?
No, hard pressed to.
We'll move on then. Kostas Tsimikas. It feels like with all the talk of left back, left centre back and all that type of stuff, Chloe, that this might be the time for Kostas to move on as well. Do you agree with that? Yeah,
but also, if he's happy sitting on the bench and earning as much money as he's earning right now, then Liverpool will have a problem trying to sell him because it's down to him. He only signed a contract less than 12 months ago, an extension. So it very much is all down to Kostas and whether he wants to leave and go and be, first choice somewhere else. I think from, set pieces, corners specifically, he's really, really good. He's not world class, but he's a decent backup left back. But I think he could go and be someone's first choice. It's mainly down to him. with the noise of a potential centre-half / left-back, left-footed centre-half, I could see Costas going. But the problem I have is, and it goes into the Robbo situation, is to buy a world-class left-back or someone who's going to, you know, completely push Andy Robertson out. I feel like you'll be spending quite a bit of dough there, and I'm not sure I'd want to spend as much money on a left-back right now as I would anywhere else. That might all change, though, if Costas does decide to leave. We get a bit of money for him, and we do need a backup.
We could buy a right winger that can also play left-back.
The Gareth Southgate, the Gareth Southgate mess with, like, the Aït-Nouri links came out last week, didn't he? And that was interesting. Like, I think if Liverpool signs someone like a Ryan Aït-Nouri, then it would be Costas who goes. He's actually the only one of the whole back line I could see leaving this summer. I know the Kwanzaa Gomez stuff earlier, I think that was nonsense. Costas is the only one, because I'm like what Chloe says, if you sign a left back, Gomez is then your utility across the whole back line, probably a bit more centre half than that one. I think I'd expect Costas to probably leave as well.
Yeah, same. Okay, moving on then. Obviously, Steve just mentioned him, Dan Joe Gomez. Mm-hmm. Is it time for him to return to centre-back? No one's talking about it, but it exists a possibility where if Liverpool don't sign someone, Gomez could be it.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, yeah. And the dynamic and the makeup of that defensive department will very much lend itself to what I see Joe Gomez as come first game of the season, and probably Liverpool in general, actually. But no, I don't think so. In my mind, I don't have him down as returning to an out-and-out centre-half. I really like the utility of Joe Gomez. I think we got the best out of Joe Gomez in many different positions last season, just by him having that versatility and that ability to play in numerous different roles. Obviously, we've seen him even as far fetched as playing as a 6 a little bit and knocking Forest away last season. So, yeah, I think he returned to his best form by doing that last season. That's not to say, you know, if we did need him to play 10 games on the spin, 15 games on the spin as a centre-half, we wouldn't see the best version of Joe Gomez there as well. But I just think he's at a time now in his career where just dropping into games and doing a little bit here and there and being that guy for little runs and stuff like that, I think that suits him best. The proof was in the pudding, wasn't it, last season? He played the most games he's played for nigh on 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons, and that's telling enough for me to suggest that you don't want Joe Gomez going 15, 20 games on the spin consecutively, having to play 90-odd minutes in one set position. You can bring him in and out the side, you can have him on the bench for certain games, you can drop him into half an hour here and there, and we got a very, very, once again, probably the best version of Joe Gomez we've had for quite a long time in my eyes.
Yeah, I've just got it up on my screen now, Aaron, for everybody. But Joe Gomez had the 4th most minutes in all competitions last season for Liverpool. 51 game involvements, 31 starts, 3,145 minutes. I think Liverpool would be stupid to sell, because there have been rumours the last few weeks as well about him potentially wanting to move on and stuff like that. But from a Liverpool point of view, it's going to be very tough to replace that amount of minutes and that amount of games and that versatility, like Dan said.
Yeah, I do see a way where he's centre-back, actually. I think if it's Robertson and either Costas or another left-back, if Trent stays at right-back with Conor Bradley, then where's Gomez going to play? He's going to, if he's going to play. So it's where we're going. His position in the squad depends so much on other external factors. So what's Trent? Is Trent a midfielder or is Trent a right back? What's the plan with Costas? How fits Andy Robertson? It almost feels like he is Gomez. He's going to be. You got
no one had Gomez down as Milner's replacement.
No, you get,
but that's what I think.
You get the sense that he's going to stay. You just don't know what the role is. Milner was the same. He was a left back for a season, then he was a 6, then he was an 8, and then he was a bit of a right back playing. You know, like I could see Gomez doing that, but I don't think I would be completely shocked if that centre back position's an open competition and Joe Gomez won it. Like really? I wouldn't be shocked. Like,
you can see him out in Canate and Kwanzaa.
Yeah, is he that much worse than them? I don't get it. Like they are
his ceilings just as high.
They're physically more imposing, and I understand that because bigger. But like, if Arne Slot just walks in training and goes, right, I've got no preconceptions, I'm just going to let you battle it out and get someone to be my centre back. Why wouldn't the more experienced international player come out on top of that? I don't think that definitely would happen. I think Canate.
I'm the same as you, Steve. That's why I put it in the agenda. It's not that I think it's going to happen, but I could see it happening.
If it's a clean slate and then why? Listen, Liverpool's best centre back partnership was Gomez and Van Dijk. It was a long time ago.
It's been so long since we've seen him do it on a consistent basis.
He hasn't had the chance. He hasn't had the chance.
No, he hasn't had the chance. But
we had Joe Matip then.
But his manager was the one who stopped playing him there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Probably the likes of Dan, your face, I can't get over the fact that Klopp just stopped playing him at centre-half. There must have been a reason for it.
And I come back to what I said, if you want your centre-half partnership as far as humanly possible to be the same two, week in, week out, every single game of the season, that's what wins your Premier Leagues, isn't it? You have your solid back two. Gabriel, I know he didn't win the league last year, Arsenal, there's a poor example, but still, the point remains. Are we going to get that? Are we going to get a 38-game season starting a centre-half from Joe Gomez? Can we guarantee that? Hopefully we can.
Based on last season's minutes, he's got the best chance.
His minutes came from what I said earlier, being dropped in and out of stuff and coming into games and being a little run here and there, 5-6 games whilst Robertson and Tsimikas are out, etc., etc., etc. Not counting on you, centre-half, 38 games for a season. I'd like to be wrong because I really like Joe Gomez and what you said about his season.
Well, he started more matches than both Konza and Konate.
But that wasn't because of Konza's injuries, though, was it?
No, because he was making his way into the side. But you're talking about a 26-year-old centre-half who has all the experience, who's done it before and played almost every game when we've won it.
The quality's not in question for me.
So I think he is far enough away from those injuries for it to be a thing anymore. I think he's past those injuries. Now, if Slot wants him there, I think he could do it. I think he'd be better doing it and attempting it with Joe Gomez than Ibu Konate in terms of likelihood of getting through a season.
Gomez is 27 now. This should be his peak, shouldn't it? This should be where he comes into it. I'm not saying I don't definitely think it will happen. I actually think Konza will end up being Liverpool's first choice next to Van Dijk, but I do think there's a possibility where he is a centre-half option next season. Liverpool need 4 centre-backs.
He was that last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he was 5th in that because Konza came into that role. Matip's gone now.
So he's just 4th now.
Nobody might go above. I think the fact that he stayed fit and he was so good, and Ibu Konate was injured a lot and was a bit inconsistent. I don't think it's.
I think the manager will take a look at him at centre back, and I think that's all you can ask going in first game of the season or its first day of pre-season.
Yeah, again, we'll see how it pans out. But the good news is he can do all these kind of things. So, like in terms of he has to stay around. Yeah. He's English and he fills 9 jobs. You know what I mean? He's your lad on Footy Manager with about 6 different positions who fills in everywhere.
And that's what I want, big footy man. That's what I want from Joe Gomez. I like that being Joe Gomez now.
Joe Gomez might not like that though.
He might not know, and that's a conversation that needs to be had between manager and him. But the thought of Joe Gomez going back to just being in sort of a centre-back rotation and not doing the other stuff, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me at all.
Okay. Well, we'll move on then. Wait for this, because I'm going to bring something in from the deep dive last week in terms of Virgil van Dijk. Obviously, the big thing for Virgil heading into next season, Chloe, is that Liverpool need to get the captain's contract sorted.
Yeah, you can't lose Virgil van Dijk just yet. Especially, I think, last season, first half of the season, he was back to his best. I thought he was imperious. I thought he improved and took on that captaincy role much better than I thought he would. Towards the end of the season, I don't think, something happened in that squad, which it completely fell to bits, to be perfectly honest. But Virgil van Dijk was back to his best. He was back to, having that aura, which just petrified the life out of players, and we haven't seen that since before his injury. So yeah, you've got to keep him, you've got to sort it out, especially with the likes of Saudi potentially wanting him as well. But I think Virgil van Dijk's got several more years at the top level, and if I was him, I'd be wanting to win another major trophy. And I get it, the League Cup's absolutely fine, but I want to win one of the biggest trophies as captain of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I teased it slightly earlier. Did anyone watch the deep dive from last week? Yeah, so you know what's coming. Okay. Josh had a galaxy brain moment where he wondered why we don't just play Virgil van Dijk as the right-sided centre-half to cover for Trent, because he's basically the best in one-on-one situations that the world has ever seen. Mm-hmm. And maybe Arne Slot could come in and just go, well, you're right-footed, why don't you just play on the right-hand side and keep playing Trent the way he's been playing? Initial thoughts, Dan?
I see no issue with it. My only sort of probably misconception with it is the fact that I don't think Virgil want to do it. He just feels so comfortable and at home on the left side. He's done it forever, hasn't he? Really? He's done it since the day he arrived at Liverpool. So that's my only thing. And there is something to be said about that comfort and that being happy where you are in your position and stuff like that. But in terms of technical ability, in terms of attributes, in terms of what he brings, you're absolutely spot on. There is no reason in my mind why he couldn't. If anything, it makes life easier for him in terms of the passes he wants to play and the switch and stuff like that.
That's the reason why I wouldn't do it.
Because he wanted to switch over to Salah.
Because you got Trent there doing that. You're playing with Konza. Konza can pass it, to be fair. He's not bad. Excuse me. So if it's Konate or Konza, you haven't got the diagonal the other way. because Trent and Van Dijk are both over this side. So, I mean, whoever's playing left wing will fucking love it, because they would just be getting peppered with that ball, but like no one's getting it to Salah. So from an offensive point of view, I'm not sure it would work out.
Trent would be playing in midfield, wouldn't he? Is the thing.
Yeah, but I just don't think you'd ever get to a point where, I mean, Mo Salah would be fuming, I think, if you did that, because he loves that long diagonal from Virgil's, that straight off the table. But I saw Josh's point. He kind of clicked out of the show, didn't it? It was like, why don't we just put Virgil there? But like, you could probably say that with like about 20 different positions. Or just play with, like we had the Gerrard.
But that's been our weakness, and I've been thinking about it since he said it, Chloe. That has been our weakness for so long, and we've got the best one-on-one defender in the world in our back line, just playing on the other side. It's mental that we never ever tried it.
No, like you said, he's got the attributes to play there, but it's once again the comfortableness of him, and also, you know, he is one of the best centre halves in the world. But if they're attacking constantly down that right hand side and Trent's being told to play a role in which he's, you know, vacated that area, it means that Virgil van Dijk is going to get in a lot of 1v1 battles, and yet we all think he's the best at it. But you can get turned inside out as a defender just when you come up against quality. That has happened to Virgil van Dijk before. And if it's constantly happening, then maybe people look at him and think he's maybe not as good of a defender as he is on the other side.
But he's a better option than Konate or Kwanzaa in terms of
teams
one-on-one.
Our right back area, because they know Trent's there and off.
So you put your strength there, don't you?
Often isn't there. It's actually.
But would they not just kick it behind the left? Because Robbo's not actually defending, is he?
He's better than.
But Trent. Robbo's a more solid option. Is kind of.
I kind of want them to. Teams have always kind of played away from Virgil van Dijk, haven't they? It's just out swapping. They're playing away from Virgil van Dijk, and it's also our weakness.
Was it Arsenal a couple of years ago that targeted Robertson? With Saka more so, and Robertson, I think he came out on top.
Man City used to always do it with Jesus.
That was one of the first times I've noticed somebody actually switch it up and go the other way and target the other side, because more often than not it is just a bombardment over on Trent's side. So I guess, but again, I mean, the Konate thing is such a mystery to me, because you could look at him, like look at the performance, look at what he's capable of. Like, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be the case that teams even contemplate targeting Trent's side, because albeit Trent again is often vacated, he's often doing things in the final third more often than not. Konate should be big and strong enough and capable enough to deal with it, but all too often he's found wanting to me.
Absolutely.
Also, I'll make the point again, if you're a professional footballer playing for Liverpool in the Premier League and you can't do a switch with your weaker foot, or you can't do a switch, what's going on?
Really?
You're a footballer. Yeah, give over.
Fair enough.
It's 50-yard diags.
Not necessarily 50-yard diags.
Well,
but
a switch.
Quansah on his right foot. We've just talked about Virg doing it on his right foot, and Virg is the best at doing that. But I think Quansah is actually really good at passing the foot. I'd worry about Konate, but I wouldn't worry about Quansah doing that diag ball.
Yeah. On his right foot, which is a strong foot. Yeah, no, normally.
But even passing on your weak foot, you should be sound at that as well.
Yes, not a lot there.
Maybe not. I'm not talking about 50-yard diags.
Well, you said switch, which is a...
Yeah, on his right foot. Quansah's boss at that.
Yeah.
But what I'm speaking about is actually being able to pass with your weaker foot. Why is this always a thing now? Like, you still should be good enough to be able to get out of danger in those situations.
Yeah, okay.
On the Konate, are we doing Konate? Because the thing, that's where I felt last year, there was a spell around spring where teams were going to Ibu have it. Absolutely. Yeah. Just have it, mate. You're not going to cause us any problems. There's no Joel Matip style run forward. There's no big boom and switch. There was no, they marked the space, so he could what Konate is good at is those little 5-10 yard passes into midfield. They just block them off, and all of a sudden we've got Ibu Konate with his foot on the ball, and everyone, and we're like, and it felt like teams really clicked. Now I understand Ibu was injured. He's probably said today or the other day playing for France that he's still not 100% fit. But I thought Liverpool solved a bit of that problem when Quansah was on the pitch. I felt like he was able to do it more. We all keep going on about Quansah and stuff though, and Konate. Liverpool still concede a lot of goals and a lot of chances with whoever played. So that might be what's in front of them needs to be sorted as well. But on the ball, I felt like teams definitely would change to Ibu. You just have it because there's nothing you can do that's going to hurt us.
Yeah, I think it's a massive season for Konate really, because I think he is behind Quansah in the pecking order. I don't think he'll like that. I think you go to the Euros, you're starting centre half, and you come back for some kid who didn't even make the squad for
he can't even get in the France team at the moment. Again, he's saying, didn't he, if I was fit, I'd have been in it, which fair enough. And that might be the case at Liverpool. We won't really know how injured he was and what he was having to go through to
But regardless, the point is about Liverpool. Yeah. The point is about, you know, Kwanzaa being ahead of him. You know what I mean? And so for Konate, what happens to him if he has a season backing up Kwanzaa?
Oh yeah,
I mean that makes this season a very big season for Ibu Konate. And even if he gets the shirt back, he's got to stay fit because it's not Jurgen Klopp in charge. You know, we saw Jurgen Dan over the years just continually give players who were injured. It's probably his biggest weakness, Jurgen, really. And if you look back on the whole 9.5 years, is keeping injured players far too long. Arne Slot might not be the same. Arne Slot might just go, fuck this, I don't want an injured player in my squad.
He was very loyal, wasn't he, Klopp? To a fault, really, I think is the point. And those that had brought him good times and brought him success and played well in the past and actually ran through brick walls for him more often than not. He did stand by them, perhaps, as you say, a little bit too long in certain cases. And I think Konate fell into that category. But back end of the season was kind of when the shackles were off a little bit for Klopp. It was like, let's just play with the lads in form. And that was across the pitch, not just in the back line. And Kwanzaa, on merit, was in ahead of Ibu Konate by the end, especially Konate's performance in the derby, which is probably the biggest low for me in Konate's actual Liverpool career, to be honest with you, because that felt like the sort of challenge up against Dom Calvert-Lewin, whereby he should be relishing it. He should be, they're the sort of battles he should be winning. He should be coming out on top of that time and time again, but he lost nigh on every single one of them. Exactly. That was a little bit eye-opening, where I thought, listen, there might have been fitness things at play. He might have had one eye on the Euros, who knows, but something wasn't right at that point. But yeah, in terms of, I've said it last week or a couple of weeks ago on the show, in terms of actual raw ability and ceiling and best versions of, I think Ibu Konate is an elite level world-class defender. So your point is absolutely right in that he should be looking at what happened the back end of the season, a little bit in the Euros, maybe not so much, and they shouldn't sit comfortably with him. He should be chomping at the bit to get in pre-season and get in front of Arne Slot and say, don't worry about Joe Gomez, Joel Kwanzaa. I know they're quite good. Kwanzaa's going to be brilliant, whatever. I'm the guy. You want someone to start next to Van Dijk? It's me. That would be me if I was Ibu Konate. And you're right, it's an absolutely huge season for him. And I hope he is feeling like that, because that's boss for Liverpool if he is.
Absolutely. All right, we'll move on to Kwanzaa then. Obviously, we talked about the Newcastle stuff, Chloe. How does he build on last season?
Consistently gets a run in the team. I mean, he sort of got that at the end of it, but he needs to make sure that, I mean, Jurgen Klopp did rely on him, but you need to rely on him game in, game out. I think he was superb at, if he did make an error, completely forgetting about it and making up for it. Manchester United was the main one for that. He just switched off a little bit, passed a ball into Bruno Fernandes, who completely and utterly pulled out one of the best finishers. You know, that very easily couldn't have been a problem if he just isn't as good technically. But it was the way, we mentioned Joe Gomez earlier, and the biggest problem I had with Joe Gomez playing centre-half was if he started crap, there was always this fear that he would just never improve and that would stay with him. Where when he was playing, you know, full-back, it felt like he had more freedom to forget any of the problems that he had, because it didn't always lead to a goal. So I love the fact that Kwanzaa's mentality is just always, let's build on what I'm doing, focus on the positives. He needs to get a run of form. He needs to make sure that he makes that shirt his. He's already done that so far for me, but like you said, if Konate comes back and, you know, decides to pick it up again, if Konate plays anything like he does in that 22 final against Real Madrid, Joel Kwanzaa's got to be out of this world to get him out the team. So I think it's just consistently playing, building on it, improving. And like you said, if he was to play left centre half, it's okay, because Alexis McAllister's doing my switching in front of him. So yeah, I think it's more just keep improving, keep believing in himself, because I think he's boss. The thing I would miss if he moved onto the left-hand side would be his little runs that he goes on, because I think that opens up a team so much. But I love Joel Kwanzaa, and I think he will be Liverpool's centre-half for the next 10 years.
Okay, moving on then, Steve. David John says, what you thinking around Sepp Vandenberg? He looks much better than he did a couple of seasons ago. Bizarrely seems to have added several yards of pace. Cash in or extra option? While Chloe was talking a minute ago, I just checked as well. Sepp Vandenberg qualifies as a homegrown defender for us. Does that impact your thinking on Sepp Vandenberg?
No, not really. I think I'm happy to let him go, I think.
I was so sure you were going to say yes, and you know.
Why?
I don't know, I don't know.
I thought you were going to offer more.
I saw him a few years ago, he was shite. I don't care about his loan. He was shite and dead slow.
Yeah, fifth choice, doesn't want to be here. See you later.
How much?
They're asking for 20, aren't they? I think, yeah, if they got that, they'll take it. He doesn't want to be here. He's pretty much come out and said that, hasn't he? He's not that good where, you know, he's not like where you fight for. Oh, you have
Liverpool
to stay
offer him to Newcastle?
See you later. Go, yeah, go. Like, this thing of like, oh yeah, keep me. But he's told everyone he wants to go. He's not that. He can't be like. Why are you having him for?
Anyone stand differently?
I'd like to see what he's about.
He doesn't want to be here though.
He doesn't want to be here.
I get that. I would like to see what he's like in pre-season because I ain't got a clue, mate.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
Mine's is not the same quality as the Premier League. So I'd like to see what he's in.
He had a very good season.
Yeah, I'd like to see what he's like in pre-season.
Like, this was his chance. Come back, play for a new manager, a compatriot who probably knows a lot about you. Yeah. And the fact that he's come out and going, don't want to be here, I want to go straight away. Yeah, see you later.
That's probably seen the weather, to be fair. It is shit.
Yeah.
It's great in Germany.
It's shit here, though.
Yeah, it's true. Mate, honestly, see you on your bike, I'll see you later.
Love it.
Andy good. That's the thing disappointed me just quickly on that. The fact that he didn't see the fact Klopp had left. And that's no disrespect to Klopp. He just wasn't in Klopp's plans, so be it, whatever. But he didn't look at this as an opportunity. The timing, it could have been better for him. New manager, new coaching staff, as you say, countrymen of his. It should have been perfect pre-season. But instead he's gone, Liverpool haven't wanted me for 4 years. I'm just going to go. That isn't ideal for me.
Also,
that's just not the right player anyway, doesn't it?
No, yeah, it does. I don't know whether he doesn't back himself either. Maybe. That shows something. But also, lads, you coming out and saying Liverpool's damaging you by putting a 20 mil price tag on you. You've played for Liverpool now, so that goes up. You've wore the shirt once, it goes up in price.
He was really good as well.
You were sound.
Mate, there's a lot of worse players
who are going for more money. Yeah, so it's a business at the end of the day, sadly, and goes to the highest bidder in my eyes.
Clive 092 says, first time I agree with Steve's mentality. So there you go.
Should always agree with the fuck, Clive. That's like the biggest
backhanded compliment.
Not even it's like a compliment. It's like just insult. The first time Steve's ever said anything.
Like his first video?
I don't think so.
Don't know though.
It could be actually, yeah. I wonder if we're all going to get one of their messages at some point. Right,
we'll move on. Conor Bradley. Obviously a brilliant season last season, broke out, was absolutely superb. He's going to be chomping at the bit for more of the same. And there's a likelihood that he doesn't get a game. Like, Carabao Cups might be it if Trent Alexander-Arnold plays right back and is fit then. It's an interesting one for him, isn't it? Because he'll back himself, I think, to go and play. And I think it's one of them where he goes, I don't want a loan. I want to fight for a place here. I'm Liverpool's backup right back, so he shouldn't be getting loaned anyway. But if he doesn't get the game time, it becomes a bit of a difficult situation.
Yeah, it's complicated because the Ballon d'Or's we won, isn't it? Outstanding, incredible. What a season he had! Like, just beyond expectations, really. I think it's fair to say. And the biggest credit, we've all said it in various different guises, so I apologise. But like, the biggest credit I can give him, the biggest compliment I can give him, is that when Trent was missing, we were all just completely fine with the world. Like, we were almost saying, how does Trent get back into this side? And then Trent comes back, and we all realise it's Trent, and we move on with our lives. But Conor Bradley was absolutely incredible. That Chelsea game will live long in the memory. He was just phenomenal and finished like vintage R9. But yeah, in terms of what happens next, I think he is the kind that, listen, you're right in what you say, he's going to want to be playing football, he's going to want to build upon and continue to develop what he did last time around, absolutely no two ways about it, but I do think he is the type just to get his head down and say, right, okay, I know where I am in this squad, know where I am in the pecking order, I'm going to work, I'm going to push Trent Alexander-Arnold, as ridiculous as that sounds, every single step of the way. He's going to make sure Trent is honest, he's going to make sure he's at it constantly, time and time again in training and in matches, because if not, he's going to be waiting into the wings to come in, and there's going to be moments in games where he comes on 60-minute mark, 70-minute mark, and he'll make an impact from there as well. You're right to mention cup games. They feel like his best opportunity, but we know what football's like. We know what Liverpool like down the years. There'll be times in the season whereby Trent isn't fit or he's not ready or whatever, you know what I mean? This happens. So Conor Bradley, for me, will get his opportunities and most likely will take them as well.
Absolutely. Moving on then, Trent Alexander-Arnold. The big question mark is, where does he start, I suppose, and there's only one man in the world that can answer that, Chloe.
Yeah, and if it's not right back, I don't really know what's going on. I think for me, he's got to play it right back just because of the amount of time and space he gets on the ball, and he is unbelievable on the ball. That's, he influences the game so much. I saw a stat yesterday, where I think he has 90 assists in his career, and it was pretty much the entirety of England's midfield, including Jude Bellingham in that, and all put together, they had less assists than Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that's a right back doing that. He is so influential. The team will be built around him. We need to make sure that we get him to sign a new contract. But yeah, I'd keep him at right back for the main reason of I just feel like that's where he's most comfortable. That's where he has more time on the ball, and hopefully with a new system, if we do play a new formation, hopefully we can make it so that we are more stable defensively on that right hand side, because if he does move further up the pitch and he is more advanced and he's more attacking, then someone recognises the danger, recognises the space. We've got an extra body in that midfield in terms of the 2 DMs 6/8, and they can recognise that and kind of cover for him. By the way, Conor Bradley, due to what he's doing in Northern Ireland, he might be Liverpool's number 9 at this point, because how is he becoming
near post goals and diving headers and all?
Jesus,
what's he doing for Northern Ireland? Doesn't
scoring goals.
No. Okay, Steve, I'm gonna back to back with you on this because I'll give you Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips, keep or go? Sell?
I think so, yeah, probably sell, won't he?
Okay, there you go. That's twice today. Clive was going to agree with you.
Well done.
Why?
Why I'm a keeper? I mean, I love Nat Phillips, but he's gonna. I mean, at some point he's not gonna play for us anymore, is he? Yeah, let him go. He's fine. I think is he not going back to Cardiff? Is that?
I've not seen that thing. Yeah. How much would you get for Nat Phillips?
Don't know.
Okay, moving on to the midfielders then. Gravenberch. Feels like this could be a massive season for Ryan Gravenberch. Obviously, much has been made of a Dutchman coming in and Gravenberch being Dutch and all that type of stuff. I just feel like if he doesn't get in at the start of the season, it's going to be a really long season for him.
Yeah, it's hard, mate, because like best laid plans and all that, you know what I mean? Like, there's enough game time for everyone to get the minutes on the pitch. He's another one who, what formation is the manager going to play? Because actually, if it's 4-2-3-1, I'm not really sure what he plays. He looks like he needs to be like a left side 8 from what I've seen so far of him. I'm not sure he's quite the 10. Maybe in a 2 when he can because what he actually is good at is carrying the ball, so maybe it's that. But yeah, he's another one really. We said last year, this is what happens when you know the opportunistic signings. He come in, I'm not sure we had a plan for him. He come no pre-season whatsoever. He's not going to get one this season, but he's still away with the Netherlands at time recording, so he's not going to get a full time under Arne Slot. So I'm just not quite sure what he is. Like, I think he's a good footballer, and you can tell when he's on the ball, there are flashes. He looked at times to me like he didn't do enough, or didn't try and do enough. Like, go and get the ball, go and do something with it. It felt like he was very passive at times. I still haven't got my head around what role he fits in any team.
I've seen a lot of people say that he can play the 10 position. I'm with you though. I don't. He's not shown me that he can play the 10 position. I've just seen people say he can play the 10 position.
He's best when he's on the off turn.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. He turns really well, but it feels like it's often into open spaces. I'm not sure how much open space you're going to get. You're going to be really sort of quick-footed, and sort of it's going to be in tight areas in around the 10. It's going to be very congested, so I'm not sure that does suit. And I really like Ryan Gravenberch, by the way.
There's a comment here, Grav would be great in the double pivot.
I think so.
That makes sense.
Ajax, he was superb.
I think that's him.
If you can get the Gravenberch Ajax version, he is an unbelievable player. I am still so excited by that signing. I was excited on the last day of the transfer window when we got him, and I'm still excited about him. I would not give up on Ryan Gravenberch.
Where I see him in that sort of 4-2-3-1 is if Liverpool were going to continue with the Trent moving into the middle, I see Gravenberch as having the engine and the physicality to push from that 6 to become next to a 10.
Let Trent come in then.
Yeah, so Trent comes in and Gravenberch goes forward. That's the type of thing that I see him doing. I don't know whether that's what he used to do with Ajax or whatever, but driving with the ball forwards, a la Oxlade-Chamberlain from 2017, dragging you 30 yards down the pitch and then looking up and finding someone. That's the type of thing that I can see him. But there's going to be so much competition for places because right now, I mean, probably McAllister's a starting one of them. You're probably looking to buy somebody or Gravenberch, and Gravenberch seems a little bit attacking for a team that needs to shore up the defence.
Yeah, I agree. I think McAllister's the only midfielder who I think is guaranteed to start when he's fit. The rest of them, there's pros and cons to every single one of them. There's lots to like. There's also question marks about all of them. So Yeah, for Gravenberch, you see Jones, see Szoboszlai, see Elliott. There's a lot of, oh yeah, he's really good at this. There's always a but, and it'll be interesting to see. Like say, that's why I'm so made up. Like with the pre-season with Slot coming in, just see what roles they've specifically got for certain players and what they want them to do. We saw very quickly when Jürgen come in, right? Well, Bobby's role was now changed. He was this. I think Gravenberch is one who we're all looking at going, well, I wonder what Klopp sees him as. Does he see him as a 10? Does he see him as a 6? Is he going to play 2? Is he going to play 1? I do see a world where he's, what you said, the double pivot thing, but I'm with you. Like, that is not very, there's not a lot of defensive solidity in a Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister double pivot, is there?
No, and then another player that could be used in that is Szoboszlai, but you'd fancy him probably more as a 10 than as one of those sort of deep line midfielders. So again, Chloe, it's going to be a big season for Szoboszlai because of the way that he ended last season, I suppose.
Yeah, his comments didn't help him, pretty much hyping that they were taken a little bit out of context, but him coming out and basically saying, you know what, I was absolutely sound to sit on the bench because I could just focus on the Euros. Doesn't sound great, mate, I'm not going to lie. So I hope he's already out of the Euros now, so I hope he, you know, as a nice break, he comes back refreshed, ready to go and works hard because he was incredible at the start of the season. He was so good at picking up the ball and driving with it. He's got long strides, he's got energy, he's got pace, and when he's, you know, in the middle of the goal, you know he's not afraid to shoot. So I think it's a massive season for him because he does have competition, and I don't know where he's best played. I'd like to see what he's like as a 10, but you know he played as an 8 last season, so it's interesting for him, but it's good that he has another pre-season. He gets to learn his role quite early from Slot, and maybe that actually really helps him because him being out the Euros isn't great for him and his nation, but it's brilliant for him to instantly come back to Liverpool and go, I a Slot, whilst all these other lads are still on international duty. I'm going to prove why I need to be in your starting 11 come the first game of the season.
Dan, there's 3 players who I think getting the best out of is key to Slot improving on Klopp's season last season. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold, getting the best out of him is absolutely key. Yep. I think Dom Szoboszlai is one of those players, and I'd say Darwin Núñez would be the third.
Yeah.
How does he get the best out of Dom Szoboszlai?
That's a good question, that. I mean, having him refreshed and full of energy again will definitely help, because there's no two ways about it. You know, midway through last season, he crumbled. We
talked about it at the start of the season when he was playing all those minutes, that it was getting a bit insane.
We were actually waxing lyrical about it being a real positive thing for a while, weren't we? Saying, oh, look how good, he never stops us, he's relentless, he's running till the dying moments of the game.
Club games and everything.
It was that Bournemouth game, and it was like, and everyone was like, why the hell is he starting this game of football?
Yeah. He tipped over the edge in it a little bit, and I think people are drawing comparisons, like what he didn't play at Leipzig compared to what he was playing at Liverpool. Like, I think he was ahead of his Leipzig minutes by about February time, which was crazy in itself. So yeah, I think maybe using him a bit more wisely might be the first answer to that, but giving him and allowing him that freedom, I guess, really, in terms of playing, because what he did, it felt like often players come in and they're allowed a little bit of time in a side before all the instructions start weighing heavy on them, and that's a poor use of terms, but it's right as well. He felt like at the start he didn't really have all the Klopp ways and the Klopp methods. He just went on the pitch and hit the ground running. It's like, you play where you think best. You just run, get the ball, have a shot when you fancy it, and just be you a little bit. And he was just incredible, wasn't he, for a while? So maybe sort of releasing him a little bit again in the side and not having him to be this structured, I need you to do this, I need you to track back. He'll do that anyway, it felt like. He just loves running by all accounts. So yeah, I think just using him a bit more wisely, and again allowing him to go out there and express himself, because there's no way on earth, and I've seen people sort of saying that maybe you'd look at him in his future. He is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Like, there's a reason Liverpool forked out as much as we did for him, and he is one of them, as you say. He's a real game changer. He can influence games of football. He can turn games of football on his head by himself if you want him to. So yeah, I agree. I think getting him back to something like what he was at the start of the season is absolutely imperative.
Okay, before we move on to Kurt Jones, Liam Bento has said Nat Phillips has a better chance of playing for Liverpool than Ryan Babel has at finding love undercover. Thank you very much for the super chat. Agree or disagree? Do you know what Love Undercover is?
Yeah, it's that celebrity football game show that they all went on. Jamie O'Hara.
Fucking Scooby-Doo,
and the lad, his American dating show, and they weren't allowed to tell them they were footballers. They had to just try and get them to fall in love, and then at the end they said, oh, by the way, I'm a former professional footballer, and Jamie O'Harvey had the audacity to say, like, I was a Premier League, whatever, mate. Anyway, there was a former Liverpool player on it, and I can't remember. Not Ryan Babel. Not Ryan Babel.
Goalkeeper?
No.
I saw the advert because it was on Babel's Instagram, wasn't it?
Yeah, young lad. The name's completely escaped from me. Apologies. But there's another Liverpool.
Steve's wondering what's happened to his life.
Does he play for Liverpool now?
No, he was a youngster ex-Liverpool, years ago.
Steve doesn't give a shit. Are you okay?
That just went off my head.
Okay. We'll move on then. Kurt Jones. Does this rumoured 4-2-3-1 formation suit Curtis Jones?
I see him being a 10.
Okay.
Because
in the pecking order of 10s in your head.
That's his issue. I don't know.
What are we talking here?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, McAllister plays every position for me. That's the problem. He's the best there.
I think McAllister's the best 10 and the best double pivot, by the way.
Yeah.
I agree.
Curtis...
He's the fourth choice, maybe. I'd have, in my list of 10s, I'd have McAllister, Elliott, Szoboszlai, and then Curtis Jones.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with something
around that. But McAllister's also my first choice for one of the...
Yeah, McAllister's on the... It's the age-old Curtis Jones problem is that he's clearly a good footballer. Where'd you play him and how much you're getting out of him when you play him there, and what's he been asked to do, what's he being told to do. So I think Curtis Jones could play double pivot as well. He's played as a six for Liverpool, hasn't he, as well. So yeah, I think it's a big season for him. I've said this about the last 4 or 5 years, actually. It was only last season when I thought Curtis was going to go and have a good season because he finished and he's going to just continue the momentum. And then it halted again. Yeah, I keep going back to this thing all the time, is that we've got such a perfect squad for a Jurgen Klopp system. We haven't got Jurgen Klopp system anymore. And now it's like, well, where did they all fit and how's Arne Slot going to get them? He's another one who has to impress the new manager because he's at an age, he's got the contract, he's scout, he's going to be around, I understand that one, but like, he's just another one, I just don't know exactly where he's going to play. So he is going to get the full pre-season. Obviously, he didn't get called up to the England squad. He missed out on that one. He's another one like Szoboszlai who should be seeing this summer as an opportunity to go, right, well, while everyone else is swanning off in the Euros or the Copa America, here's my chance to listen to manager and show him what I've got.
Okay. Sorry, I was just reading the comments, and Supernova, You Never Walk Alone, and Footy Bite have had a little bit of a argy-bargy to the point where Footy Bite called Supernova a melon, and Supernova said, "No need for name calling because I disagree." It was funny because you were absolutely in the right, Supernova, because Trent was never a right wing back for Liverpool. So maybe you're the melon for suggesting as much. It's quite funny. It's quite funny looking at an argument as it goes on.
By the way, can I just say, the more we break down the midfield, the more I'm sat here thinking, oh my God, how am I getting all of these midfielders into the...
It's hard, isn't it? So we're halfway through, Con.
They'll all get
I'm about to give you one, right? Endo, and what I've written for Endo in the agenda, he's the 6, but is he the 6?
No. He's not in my starting 11 come the start of the season. I think he's great for experience. He's, someone you can rely on throughout the season. I actually think the more the season went on, the better he got. There was a point at the start of the season where I thought to myself, what was the point in us signing him? I soon realised that actually he is sound. He's just... I'll say it this, he's not good enough to be in your midfield if you're trying to win a league. I just don't think he is, and therefore I think he limits the development of Stefan Bajcetic amongst other players in there, and there's just so many other players I would put ahead of him alongside McAllister, but that doesn't mean he's not useful. We need some sort of 6, we need some sort of defensive player, and right now he is the best at that, so you need to keep him around unless you improve on him. So he will be important to Liverpool at moments in the season, especially when we maybe need to make sure that we're more sturdy at the back. But for overall games, I think I want someone a bit more creative who can do both.
Okay. Bajcetic, big future, big season ahead for him coming back after a long-term injury, Dan.
Yeah, massive, yeah. And Endo himself cast doubt over sort of his readiness, actually, Stefan Bajcetic, which I thought was interesting. And listen, he may just be speaking based on the fact that he
what did he say? I've missed this.
He basically was alluding to the fact that we might need to go out and buy a 6 sort of up to upgrade. But within it, he said Stefan Bajcetic, if he didn't have prepared, he'll be basically, essentially. So I guess he's right in as much as he played so little football last season. Who knows where he'll be in terms of this time around. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think if he is, ready and raring to go come the start of the season this week, actually, in terms of pre-season and stuff like that, I think if he can have a clear run at it from now until sort of end of July, August time, he's right in amongst that conversation in terms of what he has to offer in terms of his ability, his ceiling, his potential. He is that perfect hybrid blend of having that defensive awareness and that ability to sort of do that side of the game and the dirty work, as well as offer enough quality and culture on the ball. I think he's a really, really good option. I think if all was right and he was fit and he had an amount of football under his belt and he was performing to his level, he'd be right in that conversation with who starts alongside Lexi McAllister for me. I honestly think of him that highly. So, massive season. In fact, more important, not even a big season, a big pre-season for him, actually. Yeah. Forget the season itself. This next 5-6 weeks.
Well, him not going to the Olympics is massive for us as well.
Massive. Yeah, massive. And they'll be over the moon with that because they think so highly of him. And last season was a write-off, basically. It was nice to get him back towards the back end. I watched him at Old Trafford for the 21s and it was just nice to see him back on a pitch. He wasn't playing very well. I think he played for actually the first team right at the back. He didn't play very well that day.
Spurs came exactly when he come on.
Miles off it. He's missed, 9-10 months of football. You know what I mean? So it's been a real long, hard slog for him. So yeah, just get him right, is all I'd say. But again, no two ways about it. If we can get a best version, close to best version of Stefan Bajcetic between sort of now and October time or whatever it may be, he's one hell of a talent.
I think if he's fit, he's in the team.
Yeah, I agree. If he's fit and
playing
proper match fit, and
as simple as that. I almost said that, but then I struggle given the players we've spoken about already.
I just think it suits him more than it suits the others.
And the balance of the team.
There's checks and balances with all of the players. I think that's what I've realised with the midfielders, isn't there? You mentioned it right at the top. There's pros and cons to every single one of them. Of course, but for me, the profile of Bajcetic, and a lot of people will disagree because a lot of people say, no, he's a pure 8. I didn't see that from him. I saw like a player who was good, versatile in all the midfield positions, but was particularly outstanding in the 6 when he was subbed in for Fabinho for a stretch. So I think he's got that, can play in a double pivot perfectly. It probably suits him more than it suits maybe McAllister, all of them, in fact. Because I don't know how good Endo is in the double pivot either, to be honest with you. It never seemed to impress me whenever Trent moved inside alongside him. So yeah. But I want to move on to McAllister because I think one of the things for McAllister is he was all over the place in terms of his position in midfield last season, Steve. With Arne Slot coming in, is it as simple as we got to play him in one position, find the position that suits him best?
Yeah, he's the best player. So sort him out first and then put everyone else around him. What that position is, I don't know. I don't know, again, go back to I don't know what the formation is. If it's a 4-3-3, then he's definitely an 8. In a 4-2-3-1, I could see him in a pivot or as a number 10 and he'd be fine. So yeah, it's almost a case of get him boxed off first and build everything else around him. He's unbelievable. He's an absolute superstar, and what I would say is that I wouldn't want him to go back to being a number 6 again, like the base of a 3. I'd leave that. He's too good in attacking areas for that. So either get him in a double where he can advance for, get him as number 10, he'd be absolutely sound. He's a superstar.
Absolutely. Clive092's back in. Steve's on fire today, loving his opinions.
Go ahead, Clive.
I know Chloe, Clark and McConnell. I think we can probably group them together to talk about them. These two lads are going to struggle for game time. Seems we've mentioned quite a lot of midfielders already.
Yeah, however, I probably would have said that last season, and yet they were saving Liverpool in the League Cup final. I'd love them to go out and get more game time and actually develop more on it, because you could see 2 boss players there. I mean, Bobby Clark ended up playing like 5 Premier League games, and that's absolutely mental when you think about it. And you can see the quality that they've both got. I think James McConnell gets a lovely assist maybe against Norwich, if I'm thinking correctly. Bobby Clark gets a goal in the Europa League. So, there's players there, but I feel like with the amount of players that we've just mentioned, hopefully if the injuries don't happen like last season, these 2 lads can go out on loan and get all the experience and game time that they need to develop to, move further up to be closer to Premier League level. But saying that, all of our midfielders decided to get injured last season. We played too many games of football. There's even more now, and those 2 kids helped us win a League Cup. So I'd put them out on loan, but please don't clip this if all of our players get injured come February next season.
Okay, and finally then, Dan, Fabio Carvalho.
I thought we'd forgot him then for a second.
Is Harvey Elliott forward?
I've skipped over Elliott. Whoopsie. We'll come back to Harvey Elliott.
Okay.
And second to last, Fabio Carvalho.
Second to last but not least. Yeah, just on the Clark, it's interesting the Clark stuff because he's probably more of a 10. I think McConnell will definitely go out on loan. I wonder if we might stick around with Clark a little bit more because he's more adept at being further forwards. Carvalho, what I will say on Fabio Carvalho is at least there's a position for him to play if we're going to play a 4-2-3-1, that is, which is probably sort of the starting point for anybody. I do wonder that signing to me. Liverpool haven't made many mad signings of late. I mean, Artemelo I want to have a conversation with me about that, but we haven't made loads of wild signings. The Carvalho does feel a bit odd to me because it's quite apparent that it never fit. It never worked. There's never a place for him to play necessarily. So I don't quite know why
Did
we made that
start playing him on the left wing?
Yeah.
Played on the left wing, yeah. He obviously, yeah.
Remember the derby, played centre mid in the
With
derby.
Harvey Elliott
Played him
alongside
centre forward at one point, didn't
He
we?
played a bit in the false nine. Yeah, it's just odd, all very odd. Anyway, that's by the by. Again, I'll come back to what I said a moment ago really about Pochettino, but for very different reasons. His pre-season is huge because if we are going with the clean slate, new staff, new faces, new people to impress, Fabio Carvalho's got a golden opportunity. Like, he must think he struck gold this summer.
Well, that's the difference between him and what you were saying about Vandenberg before.
Yeah. I seen him. He spoke the other day to Sky Sports, and he was saying all the right things by comparison. You know what I mean? He was basically jumping and relishing the fact that he was going to come back and have this chance of a lifetime, isn't it? You got your dream move to Liverpool, didn't quite work out. Went to Leipzig, that move didn't work out either. Turned your season around. To credit to him at Hull, like it was a real sort of pivotal reason, a real sort of talisman as to why they got so close to the playoffs and stuff like that. So he, to me, has lots and lots of talent, yet to really prove it at Premier League level. Had little glimpses here and there, little flashes for Liverpool and for Fulham previously. Again, I'll come back to what I said right at the start of this. The 10 role suits him to a T and down to the ground. So it's going to be fascinating to see, A, whether we play with that formation, and B, whether he can stand out in a crowd amongst the likes of Harvey Elliott, your Dom Szoboszlai, your Gravenberches, and anyone else you wish to mention.
Okay, finally then. Elliott?
I love him. I hope.
10 or back up right wing?
Oh, just get away with the right wing.
You love this.
I don't think it's that bad a shout,
Oh, no, please.
It wrecks my head. Honestly, it wrecks my head when he plays there. I hope he's in the team. I hope there's a place where he starts, and I hope there's a place where he does well and continues to play. Because I like him. I like watching him, and I think he can impact the game, and I think he's earned his chance. He's going to have to do it again. He felt like he just got there. Jürgen said one of his regrets was I didn't trust Harvey early enough. Then he trusted him and then he goes. So Harvey's got to go through it all again. And he's always a little bit like the underdog, isn't he, Harvey Elliott, because of the size and because he's a little bit slower than others. He always feels like he's pushing against it. And then he's one of those players that eventually under Klopp, he was in the team or whatever, and then he was always back in it. By the end of he was always going back to Harvey Elliott because he was fit for the start, touch wood. Other than that horrendous leg injury, which wasn't completely not his fault. Very rarely do you see any muscle injuries with Harvey Elliott or, you see something like that. I really hope that he plays, and I hope I do think I could see McAllister, Pochettino, Elliott as a midfield, and I can see the value in all three of them. It's a little bit small, which again is always the eternal problem with Harvey Elliott. I do think he can score goals, and I do think he can be creative from the middle, but also his work rate's phenomenal. He's just... I love him. I think he's fantastic, and I really, really hope that he earns us. But then again,
it feels like he's of the age where you're starting to build a team around Harvey Elliott. Yeah, I think the 10 position is almost the best example of how you build a team around somebody, isn't it? If he plays the 10, it automatically kind of becomes his team.
Yeah, but then Szoboszlai sitting there going, well, I'm £70 million and I'm boss. Like this is what it's like to play.
It's a fight. You've got to prove who's the best.
And also great for us. Like rotate. You will have to rotate. There is just no starting 11. It's just everyone has a go at it. I
don't know about that, because I look at Arsenal and Odegaard, and he's the stereotype for what I think we need Harvey Elliott to be. Mm-hmm. They're not rotating their fucking best player from that position because he's so massively important. Yeah. They don't fucking rotate Bukayo Saka. We didn't rotate Mohamed Salah when he's our best player.
Yeah, I agree.
But that happens.
I'm not
it's
sure.
It's a straight dogfight for me for who gets that position because it's so integral to how you score goals.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone's head and shoulders above the rest. That also helps that Arsenal's other options as 10s aren't amazing. You know what I mean? Like Liverpool have got plenty of options in there, but mate, I don't know if anyone's been a bigger Harvey Elliott supporter. You know what I mean? I think he's absolutely fantastic.
Just can't play the right.
Stop. No, it's not fair on him. He used to do my head in. It was like, oh, we need someone to go and do the graveyard shift. See you later, Harvey. Mo's injured. And I was like, no, let me go and play midfield because I'm better. He did better as an 8 than all of them. McAllister excluded on the other side. He was better than Jones. He was better for me than Szoboszlai consistently over the course of the season. Better than Gravenberch. For me, he's earned it, but he earned it under the last man. He's got to go and earn it again. Another one who, like I say, he'd have been gutted not to go to the Euros, but he's day one. He's at the accent in front of Arne Slot, and another one who can start the season. And then if you start the season, keep your place, play well, and you're not getting dropped.
Anyone else? Any thoughts on Harvey Elliott, Chloe?
No, I think he's sound. I'd like him as the number 10, but once again, I want to see what Sobbo's about in the number 10. I want to see what Gravenberch could do in the number 10. There's a lot of the people who are on international duty actually have, everyone who's not on international duty has such a head start here because you've got more time to get yourself into that starting 11 come the start of the season, because Arne Slot gets to look at you more and gets to try and fit and put the pieces in around you. So Harvey Elliott coming back and showing his quality instantly will really help him. Don't put him on right wing, for the love of God, don't do that. But once again, I think he was brilliant at an 8, but that was in a 4-3-3. I'd like to see what he's about in the 10, because I just go back to that goal against Spurs and it was absolutely incredible, and that's where I want Harvey Elliott to be. I want him to be in the centre of the pitch, in front of the goal, feeding the passes into the likes of Nunes, who will run in behind and do that for you, but also him having the opportunity to be centre on goal and having a shot.
Okay, we'll move on to the forwards then. Cody Gakpo having a good Euro so far for the Netherlands. Slot, obviously a Dutchman himself. Yeah. We'll be watching those games intently. Do you think Slot will be looking at his usage for the Netherlands and thinking that's the kind of Cody Gakpo I'd like to see at Liverpool?
Yeah, most likely. I think it'd be foolish not to, wouldn't you? Because, he's definitely, he's shone, really, actually, in that Netherlands front line in particular. He's been outstanding. And he often is, actually, in these big tournaments down the years for Holland. He really has stood out. And listen, I'm a big Cody Gakpo fan. I really am. And there was times last season whereby I felt a little bit disappointed in him because his form wasn't at it, but then on the other hand, there was often reasons as to why that was the case, and it was usually because he was getting played in different positions all the time. He could never get a consistent run of games in any set role, it felt like, and I don't think that's doing him any favours, let's put it that way. It was interesting actually, before we were all speaking about the forward line, and he was sort of the one who we kind of couldn't make a case for potentially cashing in on at any point. He was the only one out of a lot of them you could say, well, he just stays, doesn't he? And I never thought that would have been Cody Gakpo at any point. So that was an interesting little sidebar. But yeah, big fan of his. I think he offers absolutely everything it takes to be part of this front line. His usage is going to be fascinating. I think the 4-2-3-1 probably suits the left wing, Cody Gakpo, a bit more than it ever did because of the fact that Darwin Núñez is going to be asked to run in behind a lot more than come short than the 3-4-3-3. It always felt like if we're going to be playing Klopp's favoured 4-3-3 with a Bobby Firmino-esque player, it kind of had to be Gakpo in that formation, that system. So yeah, in terms of question marks, in terms of sort of what he has to do, I guess all he has to do is play more regularly and play more regularly in a set position. He is probably more than anyone. There's a few in this conversation. One of the lads who has to make a shirt and a position and a role his own, because although he's been really good, I think, since he's had to Liverpool, he's never just played that 10, put down that mark and said, this is me for the next 15, 20 games, try and take the shirt off me. That's what he needs to do next.
If he can do that, I think all the chat we've had about Anthony Gordon earlier on becomes kind of redundant, because if he can play the way he is for the Netherlands and takes that form into Liverpool and puts that marker down like Dan says, then we've got an absolutely world-class player and potential on our hands. But moving on to Diogo Jota, injuries are a concern. I've got a sneaking suspicion we might not see Jota on the left now that Jürgen's not the manager. I think we might just see him exclusively down the centre.
Yeah, I always think he was on the left just because Jürgen wants him in his team.
Yeah,
and it was a case of getting him on the pitch rather than anything else, and I understand that. There's no questions about Diogo Jota's ability. It's the fitness thing, and it goes back to your point you made there with Konate. If Arne Slot walks in and goes, be arse with this, and that would be a completely logical explanation. If Liverpool, I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. But if he walked in and sold Diogo Jota and then was asked about it in a press conference, he just said, listen, I love Diogo, but he needs to go and play somewhere less intense where where you can rely on him more. I think that would make a logical conclusion because yes, that's the only thing with him. See Daniel Sturridge, see Adam Lallana, see Diogo Jota. Brilliant when they're fit, not fit enough. It's the only question because if he plays 38 games, he would be Liverpool's number 9 in all 30. He's better than Núñez, he just is. I think he's the best of all of them who can play centre forward. I'm not including because I don't think Mo Salah's there yet. But if he goes and plays centre forward, fantastic. We got the stick was it last week or the week before, pick your best 11s, and I was like, well, that Núñez isn't in mine, Jota is, and every comment was, well, he can't stay fit. I was like, I agree, the game was,
he's in my best 11.
yeah, he's in my best 11, but he can't stay fit. That's all it comes down to Jota. I would think maybe, and again, I haven't seen enough of what Slot's going to do yet. Does he want his number 9 centre forward in a 4-2-3-1 pressing the life out of things? Because I always think that's how Jota got hit. He was so robust, he would just throw himself into challenges. Like, look at all the injuries he got. He was getting wellied, he was getting landed on, he was getting smashed in a tackle, he was going for a 50-50 and losing it. Like, Mo Salah never gets injured, really, because he never did that. Like, that was never his thing. It was like, well, I'm not going to do it. So if they could change Jota's role, maybe protect him a little bit more. He is unbelievable. Like, he's deadly, he's clinical. Because they fit. I think everyone would. I don't think a single Liverpool fan would disagree with that. I don't think anyone questions Jota's ability to score goals and create goals. Just isn't on the pitch enough.
Absolutely. Okay. Luis Diaz. We talked a lot about him. I think earlier on in the show when we were talking about Anthony Gordon. We've talked a lot about Luis Diaz just in general. So I don't know if there's too much point in going over it. Good player. If a bid comes in, you might consider it. Doesn't have the end product is pretty much all I've heard for the last 2 months on Luis Diaz.
Do you think he'll be here next season?
Yeah.
I'd take a flutter on no. I'd take a bet on no. Okay. Just because no smoke without fire. And his dad, basically. So I'm gonna go with no. But listen, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. Salah, Dan, contract needs sorting out, still putting up numbers. Is it getting to the point where, I don't know where, for me anyway, I'm sort of ready to move on from Salah, but I'm not at the same time. He's getting old, he still gets the numbers. It feels like he's sort of blocking us from moving forwards because he's still brilliant. Yeah. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, it does. Of course it does, yeah. But again, whilst he maintains those numbers and those freakish levels, you can't entertain a conversation. And I've tried to have it myself numerous times in the past 5-6 months, whatever it's been, because I knew the contract thing was on the horizon, and are Liverpool gonna wanna give him another 2-3 year deals at the same sort of terms, or even, God forbid, increased in terms and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really hard conversation. We know all about the Saudi interest from last summer as well. That sort of spiced things up and made the question even more difficult to comprehend when there was £150 million on the table and stuff like that. So, yeah, in terms of Liverpool and in terms of what's best for Liverpool's chances of success and silverware next season, Mo Salah is in the side and continues to be Mohamed Salah. In terms of what happens longer term, I don't know. I'd love us to get him a new 1 year deal boxed off, and then we can kick the can down the road a little bit and deal with it potentially next summer. Who knows? Because the likelihood is, for me, that Salah, he knows he probably didn't finish the season as well as he would have liked. I actually believe he comes again and he produces crazy Mo Salah stuff again. Now, the goals might look different than they ever used to. I don't think he's going to score them types of goals whereby he just ran away from people and basically took the mick, but he remains... He's lost the yard, yeah. He remains a constant, and as much as we wax lyrical and laud Diogo Jota for his clinical finishing, and I'm sort of front of the queue for that. I think he's phenomenal. Mo Salah's not far behind in terms of, you want the ball to drop to somebody, you want it to be Mo Salah. So I think he'll remain as talismanic as ever when it comes to Liverpool's sort of front line next season. But again, it's such a complicated conversation. I don't actually think there is one wrong answer actually in Mo Salah's future.
Letting him go for free.
It's letting him go for free. That's the only wrong answer I can fall down upon.
If Liverpool, I'll come to you with it. If Liverpool try and get a contract sorted with him and he doesn't sign a contract, surely they have to look to sell. But equally, even if they can't sell, they have to fucking buy, right, this summer.
Yeah, I keep going back to it all the time. People keep telling me he goes if he doesn't sign a contract. It's not anyone. It's his choice. Like, you're not going to bench Mo Salah because you're not going to.
But are you buying someone to replace him this summer if you know he's going to leave for free next summer?
Yeah. I actually think that's what's going to happen. I don't see a world where...
We understand why it's very poor business.
No, but because I understand it to a point, but also Mo Salah's paid what he was worth. Like, Mo Salah's got Liverpool, so it's not Liverpool's choice. It's Mo Salah. Mo Salah is in complete control of his own destiny now.
Yeah, the wages are one thing. I'm talking about the passing up an opportunity to cash in.
Yeah, but it's not his choice. Again, it's not Liverpool's choice. If Mo Salah goes, sell me then of course, I'm not going to sign a contract, please sell me. Then of course you have to sell him. But I don't think he's going to do that.
No, the fundamentals.
But Liverpool will be shopping him round.
The fundamentals of what you're saying
million.
are correct. But from my point of view, in terms of what would be wise and what wouldn't be wise, that wouldn't be wise.
No, I'm kind of hoping that they'd both come to a conclusion of, you've been exceptional for us. We made you the highest paid player at Liverpool, even when we look. Virgil van Dijk, the best centre-half I've seen play for Liverpool. I would hope that they'd be able to come to a compromise where they'd say to Salah, look mate, we want you to stay, you won't sign a new contract, and therefore Liverpool have to improve for next season because you are priceless. Like, it is just that simple. So I would hope they'd come to a conclusion where they'd part ways and say to Salah, we want you to go now so that we can get the money to bring in another version. They'll never be you, but at least we'll have the money in the bank for that. If a player did come available who was Kvaratskhelia price or something like that, we'd be able to pay and we wouldn't be out of pocket. That's what we do. That's our brand. And none of us like it. I get it. Sometimes it's what's made us, not in trouble with PSR, which is brilliant. But at times you do just want to spend that extra however many million and just be that big club. And we don't do that as often. We sell the players to reinvest. So I would hope that Mo Salah would have enough respect for Liverpool as much as we'd have had the respect for Mo Salah and say, could we come to a compromise here, because we can't let you go for free.
Don't see it happening at all. I think he signs a contract and he goes for nothing. I don't think we sell him this summer. I think he's here next season, and I think it's either he goes on a free or he signs an extra deal. And
I think that's insane from Liverpool if that's what they sit on hands.
It's not Liverpool's. I keep going back to it. Why is everyone acting like Liverpool have got a choice in this matter? Liverpool have let Mo Salah get.
There's a difference in what you're saying and going out and trying to sell him.
Yeah.
That's what Liverpool have to do.
What though?
We have to go out and try and sell him, so
he doesn't want to
for free.
Why? What do you mean he doesn't want to?
What if he
Saudi come back in and give him the lifestyle that he clearly wants?
Salah's not sitting and not playing football.
That's my point. That's the exact point. He owns all the cards, because if he doesn't sign a contract, what is Arne Slot not going to play him? He's just going to play him.
On that front.
This is completely Liverpool have got themselves into a situation.
Exactly, but that's what we're saying. We're not saying that. We're saying Liverpool have caused themselves a problem now, but they will have to physically.
Mo Salah owes Liverpool fuck all. He owes them nothing. He has signed his contract. He has scored more goals than anybody else. He has won them every trophy. He is quite within his right to do whatever the fuck he wants. He owes Liverpool, at this point in time, nothing. They are the ones who give him the contract, and they're the ones who have got to this position.
But for what's best for Liverpool's standpoint, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I agree. But that doesn't matter. What's best for Liverpool? What's best for Liverpool doesn't matter to Mo Salah now. Mo Salah will play next season, and then it'll either be stay or go. I can't get this thing of, we have to sell him this summer. It's not your choice. Like, you've got no...
I think people are just talking about what Liverpool should be looking to do.
Yeah, I agree, but...
It doesn't mean that we can actually do it, but it means if Mo Salah came to Liverpool and said, I'm not signing a new contract, Liverpool would have to assess and see if they
would say to Mo Salah, well, we're going to sell you then, and he'll go, no, you're not. And that's what I'm saying, if he does that...
Do you think Salah's the type of person that if you did, in hypothetics, of course, Liverpool said, right, we're trying to sell you, I'm not going anywhere, well, you're not going to play for a year.
He'd laugh in your face and go, stick Harvey Elliott on the right wing then, mate. And then you're saying that Mo Salah doesn't play if he's I just don't see it happening.
I didn't say that.
No, but I think what do you mean?
I didn't say that.
You said you're going to tell him he's not going to play. He'll know you're lying.
I don't know, man. I get your point about him having all the cards and stuff. I really do. But like, just I don't know. You're being very like.
I think he's going to play. I think he's going to score loads of goals again.
I just don't think it's going to be Liverpool's intention for that to happen.
He's not going now, is he? If he was going, I think all intentions by every reputable source are Mo Salah intends to stay at Liverpool. That's what everyone's saying, which probably means it's coming from Mo Salah's camp a little bit. So there's not a story, is it? The story is what happens the year after. Do you get any money for him?
Because your hands got a splinter.
Why?
Just know, you seem grouchy.
I'm fine.
Yeah, you are quite
I'm not grouchy. I can't get my head around this thing where Liverpool have to sell him.
But we're not. What we're saying is Liverpool in their mind should think that.
You're agreeing with us.
You're agreeing with us,
because Liverpool do have to sell him. Whether they can or not.
That is what they should be looking to do.
I agree, but it's a pointless conversation because they can't. It's like Liverpool should try and sign Kylian Mbappe, but they can't. Liverpool, it's a nonsense conversation.
You're
look at these few comments have got to his head. He's going to have a play into this.
Clive, come back, Clive. Do you agree with him?
You're presuming
look what you've done to Steve.
I am, yeah.
You don't know what Mo Salah thinks.
Well, I think if Mo Salah wants to leave, the stories that Mo Salah wants to stay wouldn't come out.
We don't know that. That's all.
The stories come out.
No, but we don't know that's coming from Mo Salah. Liverpool intend to have next season with Mo Salah.
It was the other way around. Mo Salah intends. That was what the whole reporting's been. His agent said he wouldn't have signed the contract if he didn't intend to.
But that was
honour it.
Yeah,
it was a year ago.
He's going to honour that contract. But that's not to say that if Liverpool went to Mo Salah this summer and said, "Listen, if you don't want to sign a new deal, these goalposts could change."
We're going to have to agree to disagree.
You know what I think? I think you have got a higher pitched voice than I do when I scream at a goal.
Honestly, I can't get my head around it.
Well, we're actually agreeing. You're agreeing with us whilst also making a different point.
But Mo Salah, there's no way he's not here this season. That's my point. This idea that, if he doesn't sign a contract, we have to sell him. Doesn't matter. He's going to be here and he's going to play. That's my point. Any idea of Mo Salah not being next season is...
I love the fact that, by the way, if Liverpool did go in, Salah laughs in their face and says, "What are you going to do? Play Harvey Elliott right wing?" That's what Salah said to FSG.
And he's right.
If we sold it now, this is getting clipped up to death.
Mate, I hope, listen, if they do, they prove me wrong sound. It's just like, Salah's going to be here, isn't he? And he's going to play, he's going to be the best player.
He holds all the, as you said, he holds all the keys.
And he's going to score all the goals. He's going to be our top goal scorer again, isn't he?
And he walks away for free next summer. He basically takes the transfer fee, doesn't he?
Yeah. He goes to Saudi, and rather than paying 150 million to Liverpool, Mo Salah gets it in his back pocket. Look at Kylian Mbappe he's just done. It's that. That's the new way. That's the new transfer world we live in now. Look at Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe has just shown the world how you do it. You just wait until the end and then you get all the money. We
get that. That's what we understood. But we were asked what you think Liverpool should be doing.
Okay. Just trying to sell them.
Just gave what Liverpool should be doing. We didn't predict the future over here.
Okay, so Liverpool... Oh, forget
it. We'll move on. Darwin Núñez. Steve, how should Liverpool deal with Darwin Núñez?
Should.
Yeah.
I would have sold them.
Okay.
But they can buy him.
Okay.
So maybe get Marco Bielsa, he's assistant manager or something. He's fucking boss. He's banging it for Uruguay, isn't he? I'm yet to be convinced. But they're going to give him another chance. And I back him. This is the point. Back him to the hill. Hope he does well. He keeps finding himself not in the team. No one else's fault but his own.
It's interesting. Obviously, Steve mentions Chloe's international form and stuff, but like for every goal that he scored, he's still missing a lot of chances. But if you can get him to score one goal a game, which is literally what's happened for the last 7 or whatever, there is still that huge sway the Liverpool fans are going, if he can do this all the time, we're going to have one of the best centre forwards in the world and therefore the league. It is key, I think, for Arne Slot, because I don't think he's buying a centre forward. There's nothing of centre forwards, and I don't think you're planning on Gakpo to be a centre forward this season without Klopp. I don't think you can plan for Diogo Jota to play a full season. So by the process of elimination, Darwin Núñez is your main man, because you're not buying someone and you're going to give him a run out.
Yeah, and hopefully Arne Slot can get the best out of him. If he does play the 4-2-3-1, then, it might benefit him massively to have that number 10 near him, to be able to thread the ball through, maybe a little bit quicker than what we do anywhere else on the pitch. He needs to make sure he stays onside, because there is only so... you start being offside ultimately in the first 5 games of the season, and already that crowd is not going to be happy. We saw what it was like towards the end of the season, where he was just constantly offside. And actually, I thought towards the end of the season, his body language wasn't great. In those moments when he was offside and the fans were like, "Are you messing?" He never looked like he was willing to go again, which you'd seen him, no matter how many times he was offside, he was always making the runs earlier on in the season. However, what I will say is for Uruguay, the other day when he came out, and I thought his mentality was brilliant, where he said, I might not score every chance, I might not take every chance, and I'll have 10 chances, but I'll make sure I get the 11th.
Can we change that to just score the first one, please?
Yeah, we would love that. That'd be
that'd be so, honestly, I'm all for missing the 10 to score the 11th, but if you could just score the
if
first.
It just takes 10 in the warm-up. That's okay.
It's just 11.
That's simple. That's simple.
There you go.
That's what we need to set
That's
out.
what Bielsa's doing in the world.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, he will get loads of chances once again. He just needs to be far more composed and calm in front of goal. I don't know whether you can teach that, but we'll soon find out.
He was one of the few players I thought who didn't get better with Jurgen Klopp's coaching. He looked the same all the time. Like I always thought Jurgen and the coaching staff were brilliant. Every single player
It's interesting that.
pretty much every player who come in got better or looked better for the most part or whatever. I didn't really see too much difference between the 2 years ago, Darwin Núñez and last season's. Other than the spell, there was a little spell where I thought he might have clicked around January, but he did that his first season. He always looked a threat. I really thought those 2 Newcastle goals were going to be the launch pad.
Making of him,
And he wasn't in the team at the end of the season. Twice he's ended the season not playing. He's got a new manager now. I think the last one to give up on him, if I'm honest, because he didn't need to worry about it anymore. You don't get 4 seasons.
Unless you're a hotel.
It's awful.
What an end to the show.
No, sorry. Just quickly on Darwin. I think there's a moment, his hold-up play got a little bit better. He was doing a bit more of that stuff, slightly better under Klopp for a while. But just on Slot, actually, I think it's interesting. He got a sports psychologist in.
That was his best ever.
Exactly. Got a sports psychologist in at Feyenoord. And that
No one's listening, Dan. We're all thinking about a joke.
Sorry. You're
just going to give us 5 seconds, compose ourselves, forget about it.
Okay. Are we good?
I didn't laugh.
Okay.
He's
He's too angry about Mo Salah still to be laughing at stuff. He brought a sports psychologist into Feyenoord, and maybe he looks to replicate that and brings him in again, because I think, all jokes aside about that, I honestly think having somebody like you mentioned, composure there, that could be a big help to him. But I do still back Arne Slot to get the best out of Darwin Núñez, similar to what Marcelo Bielsa's doing now.
Okay.
That is the okay.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I'm fine. I just don't agree with it.
It's been brilliant.
We're all friends.
Right, okay, squad review is in the bag. What have you learned dead quickly?
too many midfielders. Can't fit them all in.
What?
Red's going to win the league.
Red's going to win the league.
I'm not sure that's happening.
What have you learned, Steve?
We've got a lot of square pegs in midfield. We'll have to see if the square holes or round holes, and we're going to have to shave a few round, because there's a lot of options.
Yeah,
and there's in quite a lot of areas of the pitch, and I'm not exactly thrilled with any of them. I'm sound with goalie, I'm sound with back 4, and I think in front of that, I'm only sound with Alexis McAllister, Mo Salah on the right, and then the rest of it, I'm a bit like, I don't know. I don't exactly know what I want or if I'm keen on it. So I really hope Slot is as good a coach as we think he's going to be, where he can implement that straight away, because it's not going to be as straightforward as just like go and do what you were doing last year and carry on. There's coaching to be done.
It's not plug and play, is it? There's a lot of the unknown going on, but I'm excited by it. Every optimist.
Too.
I think as much as we're having these little conversations, we're not sure whether that's a wrinkle that can be ironed out and all that sort of stuff. I like to think that will just fit and everything will be fine.
Does it make anybody think that he might just not play 4-2-3-1?
The squad would suggest
set me
that,
heart on it.
But his previous
as
managerial jobs
14 years before he came to Liverpool, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
4-3-1 at Mainz, 4-3-1 at Dortmund's different.
I just want to see something different, mate.
But I know I do tactically and stuff, but there will be system changes regardless. Yeah. He might just look at it and go, well, maybe I'll aim to get to 4-2-3-1. But right now, I don't have the players for it, or I don't think I've got the players for it.
But the only caveat to that is, does he think he's got the DM to play 4-3-3?
Easier to buy 1 than 3 or 2 or whatever, you know what I mean? That's it does make you wonder, because I say everyone just assumes. I think I assume we're playing 4-2-3-1 as well, but when you do look at the squad and you forensically analyse it, Steve's right. Too many square.
We were here with Jürgen. I remember you doing your videos. Oh, what's going to make 40? And then there was 4-3-3. I was like, oh well. That's that done. Like you are right. Like, does a good manager implement a system and fit the players, or does he look at the players? He's got to make a system to go with it. I would argue you probably should do the latter.
It's cheaper to do the latter. We know FSG like cheap, so why not? Anyway, that has been a bumper podcast. We did Anthony Gordon on this show. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Mo Salah next season. Really made up with that. No, honestly, through the off season is a joke.
Salah's training.
What is going on? Like, he's just insane.
He's getting fit for a move, isn't he?
Salah.
Okay. And that's probably the last time I said we did.
That was a thing.
That was a thing, yeah. We'll move on then. We'll end the show. We're going over to the Biased Transfer Podcast. We're actually going to talk about the Euros, not transfers, for a bit. And a little bit of transfer stuff as well. See you over there shortly. Ta-ra.